We're just normal men.
What do you mean, normal men?
We're just innocent men.
It's time for Side Scrollers with me, Stuttering Craig.
I did. Oh, wow! Right on the tip. Just on the tip.
And Blabs. Co-hosted by our friends from around the internet.
There is a portion of Norway where it is legally required to carry a firearm at all times.
If you're just a normal man looking for common sense in this crazy-ass world, you've come to the right place. And now, broadcasting from our homes from around the internet, it's time for Side Scrollers.
Okay, you ready? Open wide!
Welcome on out to Side Scrollers on YouTube.com and Rumble.com and Side Scrollers Podcast.com. What's going on, everybody? Hey, happy Monday, Tuesday. No, it is indeed Wednesday. Hello, I'm Stuttering Craig. Great to see you guys. Glad you found us here on this wonderful hump day. Apparently, I'm underwater because Blabs has turned the music down, so I'm going to stop for a second, reset, and start talking again. Hopefully that worked. And my phone is going off right now. It's just great. Well, here we go. It's 11 o'clock. I'm doing a show, Mom. Just letting you know. Here we are. Glad you guys are here. It's going to be a great one. Hello, Blabs.
Hi, you are not underwater. It's just that your mic is super duper low, and I'm afraid of boosting it again in case it overdoes it. So you need to boost yourself.
Boost. You know, the funny thing is that my show or my volume is the same every single time until you say it needs to change. And then it changes, and then here we are. So it's been high, it's been low, it's been everywhere in between. But that's okay.
Even chat says you were less. So it's not just me. I'm not just crazy. I mean, I am, but it's not in this sense.
Well, we're gonna have a great show today, Blabs.
That's better, actually.
It's gonna be really good.
Just do that. Just make out with your mic all day, and everyone can hear you.
The entire time we'll just be talking like
And
this.
no one's gonna change images of what that microphone is.
Nope, not ever. Especially no.
I was thinking about bringing my hand up to it, but I decided against it.
You gotta use both hands sometimes.
But
Mally. I see Mally.
That was so funny. Oh my gosh. Hi. What an intro.
and I'm
All right, yeah. Well, we did want to do this again. All we need is Kay this
That's
time.
true,
Whoa,
we're
it's super
ready.
big, though. All right, we'll
More
do it
side
this way.
scroll hers.
Yeah, more side scrollers. Bye, Craig.
Well,
I don't know what he's doing backstage. He's playing with his microphone still.
he's
You want to show the world what you're doing?
no, I don't. No. Do you want to show the world what you're doing, Blabs? Okay.
Good.
Okay. Well, look. Welcome out to the show. We had a great one today. It is Hump Day, ironically enough. Pardon the pun. Here we are. We got a lot going on today. The second hour of the show is going to be really fun as we have a former Disney employee here ready to spill the beans. It's going to be fun. Blabs has booked a gentleman named Robert.
Yes.
And Blabs has gone through the proper producing duties of verifying Robert's identity.
It's true.
Showed
Did
us
you,
all
by
the
the way,
stuff.
did you like the email I sent you with the subtitle, like the subject of "Not a Nigerian Prince"?
Yes, I did appreciate that, confirming
You're
that
like, what
Robert
the fuck?
Robert is not a Nigerian prince, and in fact, not intending to scam us out of all of our money. So, we'll see. Maybe he is. But we got that going on today. We also have a lot of quick hits, including Concord throwing immense. I'm sorry, not Concord. Marvel Rivals throwing immense shade at Concord. It's going to get into stuff. Some girl getting railed by 100 dudes, which, you know, that's a conversation we're going to have. Another reboot apparently is on the way, and my God, Nintendo just threw down a patent, which, look, they own a lot of patents, but this one could be a game changer. So gather around, tell your friends about the show. Do us a favor, hit the thumbs up button as you guys are tuning in. And of course, I want to remind you guys, we're live over at Rumble, at rumble.com/sidescrollers. We also have the X account, where you're going to find out that Mally was going to be on the show. And Robert, who you guys are going to get to know here in a little bit about it at the top of the hour. We also have that Instagram account, don't we, Blabs?
We do, so follow some memes and clips of the show. Otherwise, some dishonor upon you and your cow and your sandwiches.
Okay, sounds good. Apparently,
Yes.
I'm still too low, but that's fine.
Yes.
I'll keep
I'm
boosting
afraid
myself.
to boost you.
Yeah, I'll keep going on my end. We also have the Apple Podcast and Spotify, which yesterday went up at a reasonable hour, which was great. We appreciate you guys. A lot of you guys seem to be tuning in over there. The video version of the show has been really good. So if you want to, oh my God, I got caught up right there. Wow.
Did you choke on a hairball like Puss in Boots?
Like what?
Great impersonation.
Anyways, go watch the show over on Spotify. You can download it directly to your phone or whatever. It's great. And do us a favor, give us a 5-star review over there as well. We genuinely appreciate that. We also have the Side Scroller Shorts channel where you can take out of context things like probably what just happened in the entire intro of the show. You can find that over at Side Scroller Shorts, the new YouTube channel we have. And of course, if you're new to this YouTube channel, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. Join the nearly 111,000 just normal men who have found common sense in the video game space. We're glad you're here. Once again, let's do our best to get to 1,337 likes. We'd greatly appreciate that as it helps grow the show. And I want a quick reminder that tomorrow, the Real Video Game Awards, voting opens up tomorrow, Thursday, just in time for Jeff Keighley's award show. So, which, by the way, we will be doing a watch party for that tomorrow afternoon. If you guys want to tune in for that, so make sure you guys are here for the Real Game Awards. It's gonna be good. Oh, speaking of, I've taken several of Jeff Keighley's awards here. They were 3D printed, and I plan on doing all sorts of fun things to them to promote the Real Game Awards. So hopefully he doesn't get upset at us for that. So, anyways, got a ton of them. So there we go. Like I said, we got a lot to talk about today. And that's kind of where we got going on. So, Blabs, please fill us in on today in video game history.
Okie dokies. December 11th is Mega Man 3 releasing in Japan in 1992. We have the Nintendo 64 DD, which is like disc drive, isn't it?
Yep.
Releasing in 1999. And then, guys, Angry Birds releasing in 2009. Now, Craig was all like, it was released yesterday. No, it was released today. So, shout out Angry Bird.
According
I
to
feel
whose
so
sources?
old.
No.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know. It's tough. It's tough happening when getting old. I remember when Angry Birds came out.
Yeah.
We had developed an app back at the old Screw Attack days, and we developed a game. And they're like, "Have you heard about this?" The developer we work with is, "Have you heard about this new app called Angry Birds? It's killing it right now." I was like, "What are you talking about?" And anyways, now here we are, and it's movies and merchandise and all.
It's
sorts
on
of-
airplanes. I played it in the sky, and it was actually really entertaining because it certainly helped time go by. I'd be like just on the screen on the TV, right in front of you, just whee.
Yeah, it's at restaurant tables now. The little checkout tablets have games. It's on there.
Wow, I didn't know that one.
It is everywhere. They've scaled it.
Good for them.
Obviously, you mentioned Mega Man 3, Blabs, and I do think it's important to recognize that your Mega Man 3 is actually incorrect.
What?
The Mega Man 3 you have right here.
Oh, it was the USA cover. That's right.
No. You have the NES version. This is Mega Man 3 for the Game
I have
Boy,
failed.
which is two different things. Also, some noticeable games that you missed today. 31 years ago, those who are the oldest of G's will understand what the game Eternal Champions meant for the Sega Genesis in 1993, which was like a Mortal Kombat Street Fighter knockoff, where, anyways, it was fun. If you were a Sega kid, you know. Also, Klonoa was released for the PlayStation 27 years ago, an underrated classic there. Shining Force 3 for the Saturn. Gran Turismo 2 for the PlayStation 25 years ago. And you mentioned the 64 DD. That was a Japan exclusive back in the day.
Very interesting. I didn't know about it until I started researching it yesterday.
And a noticeable potential game changer was released 16 years ago, which I'm sure PlayStation wanted to be very successful, which ultimately just went away like a fart in the wind. PlayStation Home. Do y'all remember PlayStation Home?
Yeah.
Released 16 years ago and promptly closed 15 years ago. No.
Sounds about right.
No. So yeah, good stuff today, Blabs. Thanks for
You're
sharing,
welcome.
which is good.
Tomorrow is also a pretty good one. Also, just
Yeah,
saying.
are we gonna have actual games like?
Yeah, but I did include one mobile game for tomorrow as well because it looks fucking amazing, and we have to talk about it.
Is it called Angry Birds? Because that was
No.
released yesterday.
No.
Okay. Hey, Magnum came in as a brand new member. Magnum, great to see you. I'm pretty sure you've been a new member multiple times. But
Yeah, thank
either
you.
we appreciate that. Terje came in. I'm sorry, I butchered your name. Says, hey, Blabs, what is the worst earworm song? song. What is that? I don't even know.
I don't understand. Does anyone understand what that means?
I'm guessing that's like one of those songs that you hear and it just kind of gets in your brain.
Like it
Oh,
gets
like
stuck in your head. Yeah.
stupid catchy song like Baby Shark.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Probably something in like Ariana Grande's albums or like
no.
Taylor Swift.
I got y'all
yeah.
beat. Are you ready for me to ruin your day?
You like Ariana Grande, don't you?
No. I got a song for you. I get knocked down, but I get up
That's
again.
not a bad song. I like that one.
That's
That
gonna
one's
be
good.
in my head all day now.
I did it.
All you have to do is say that.
Don't they have a really funny name? Shit, I can't remember. Isn't it like Thunder or something? Thumper? I can't remember.
Chumbawamba, Blabs. Chumbawamba.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, Stacy's mom was a good one. Stacy's mom has got it going on. Yeah. Hey,
Youth.
David came in and says, I like Puss in Boots. I also like the Cat movie. All right, David. Well, congratulations, Mr. Brownfield. Norm says, Craig spoiling gaming history makes Blabs an angry bird. I like what you did there, Norm. Appreciate that greatly. Okay. Like I said, we have a lot to get in about an hour because at the top of the hour, we're going to have our former Disney employee and current game dev joining us, which is very, very cool. So let's get into it, ladies. It's time for my favorite segment, your favorite segment, everybody in the world's favorite segment. It's time for Hard News.
Hard news.
All right. So the first thing on the run sheet just simply says, please buy Blabs a Cow. Now,
Yes, thank you, please.
This is the gaming news that you come to Side Scrollers for.
Yes.
And I'm here to deliver it for you. And I'm just going to tell you this right now, Blabs. Just based off of the initial look of this video, I think this is AI. I don't
No,
think
it's
this is
not.
real.
It's real.
All right, Mally.
God, it's so ignorant.
I don't know. I'm just looking at it. Mally, introducing the cutest cows ever. A baby cow.
that could be AI. I don't know. My brain
Just
can't
let it
decide.
play. Just let it play.
All right.
The Sugalan Highland cow is the cutest cow in the world and is
AI.
also
That's totally
That's so AI.
Listen,
Totally.
just let it play out.
Cute.
the non-mainstream cow of the cow world. So it is also called non-mainstream cow. When he was a kid, he was like a little dog that could walk around with a rope, but it's not like a dog that's as good as you. If you
Hold on. Can we stop this for a second? Yesterday, we talked about AI and AI voiceovers. This is 100% an AI voiceover, right?
Listen,
And
oh, yeah.
like 100%. And we talked about how the voiceover, and there's 71,000 likes on this right here.
I want the
Nobody
baby
cares.
cow. It's literally like a baby Highland.
I know you want the baby cow. All right. Well, should we finish this? Do I need to finish this?
Yes.
Okay.
You think it's cute, you can do it. They have a gentle temper and they don't have high food requirements. The best thing to eat is grass. The environment is also very adaptable with long hair and not afraid of cold, so it is particularly easy to raise. Is to give him a lot of hair, otherwise it's hard to block your eyes. They're very obedient after they're not obedient. Let's add a little spicy
What the fuck does that even mean? They're very obedient after they're not obedient?
It's because you have to hold the train all the cows.
Okay. All right.
to it. They were so cute when they were kids. When they grow up, they will become grassy. This hairstyle is a bit unruly, like a little brother in the Zangai family. Who wouldn't love such a cute cow? But the taste must be very bad.
The fuck does that even
Okay,
mean?
the first couple were definitely AI. The rest, I'm not sure, but they are cute.
It's AI translating, like I think it was some Asian language. If you look, the original language is in Asian, some sort of Asian, Japanese, Chinese, or whatever, and then the AI is translating. It's failing.
Okay, that's still fake as fuck. I'm just gonna
Listen,
throw that out there.
I'm just saying they're super cute, and I wouldn't mind the Highland for Christmas.
All right. So look,
Where
if
are you gonna
anybody
keep
wants
it?
to buy Blabs a Cow,
I live in the middle of Narnia. It's fine. I got room.
All right. It's like I didn't know if it was gonna be a roommate. I didn't.
I know. I feel like that would be a bit smelly.
Blabs,
Okay.
if
That's
I
fair.
buy you the cow,
Mhm.
can that cow, number one, be the official mascot of Side
Of course.
Scrollers? Number two, can we have its own camera at all
Yeah.
times on the show?
Okay,
Cam.
that might be proven difficulty because it'll be outside, so it may freeze.
No. We'll have freeze cam.
Oh, then we're
Okay.
totally in. Yeah, dude, I'm in. Like, I want to do that for my turtle. I want like a camera for my turtle at all times.
I'd love that.
And
All
what
right.
is this cow called?
Oh, I don't remember. I have to check the name again on the
Oh.
thing. But yeah, it's basically like a Highland, which is a beef cow.
Okay, it's a tiny.
So they would be perfect for the winters because they're used to the cold temperatures and stuff. And I live in Narnia, so technically speaking, it would be fine.
How
Well,
how much does one of these cost, Blabs?
Oh, a couple hundred to 1,000, depending on its breed, and
A couple $100.
couple hundred, 2,000s, yes.
Okay. Well, like I'm just saying, what if we get you an extra derpy one, like the runt of the
Yeah,
litter?
all I need is for you to build a giant pen for me, and then we're golden.
No,
and
see,
I need a
hold on.
shelter too.
Blabs, I can get you the cow. I'm not getting you the shelter for the cow. That's your
Ew.
responsibility.
wait.
I'll build it.
If it's derpy, does that mean you get it on discount?
Yes,
Yeah.
you get the derpy
cool,
discount.
cool. All right,
Nice,
just checking. I wanna make sure.
nice, perfect.
Okay, Blabs, I'm serious. Let's do a little research on
like
this.
we have plenty of room for it, so
Okay, but here's the thing. Once a week, it needs to be in your room.
no way,
Regardless of its size. It's on
no
Friday.
way,
it's cow
dude,
day.
no way. Its tail could like knock things over. Have you ever gotten hit by a cow tail before? You can get a black eye.
Listen, you think this guy's gonna knock you over?
Yeah, you just said he was AI. He's not real, Craig.
Okay. well, you think that guy's gonna knock you over? It's like a dog.
First of all, they are a lot stronger than they look. Just saying. That's like all muscle. Like beef cows are, womp, they're not like dairy cows.
I felt that though. That is true.
And look, here's the thing. If you don't like it, we'll just eat it.
I mean, technically speaking, sure, that's what they're for. But yeah,
Wouldn't that be? Oh my God,
here's Chester. Nom nom nom.
we're talking about doing some live events over here, and like every year we buy a new side scrollers mascot, and after a year we all get together, then we eat the mascot every year.
Okay, here's the thing though. Can we get a snake from mascot? Because I've heard that certain snakes taste good, and I want to try.
Go buy your own
Ooh.
damn snake, Blabs. I'm just saying.
Fine. Yeah, he's not up for adventures, are you, Craig?
I'm on Team Highland Cow for mascot because I
me-
want burgers next year.
See, there you go. Mally gets it. Mally understands what's going on. All right. Hey, Magnum came in and says, I'm Craig's multiple ex-wifey. We love each other, but I know I could do better. Oh, thanks, Magnum. Appreciate that. I didn't know I had an ex-wifey, but appreciate that as well. Tom says, cute. They'll make great burgers. See, Tom gets it. Torgo says, AI translated, AI voiced, liked by bots. And Norm came in and says, I have a feeling AI will be like CGI, where it will dupe the first generation exposed to it, but later generations will be able to pick up on it when something is AI or not. Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Okay, how about a teacup pig instead? Those are the really, really small pigs.
Right? As long as we can eat it.
Bacon.
Yeah, but at the same time, they're so tiny they become like your pet because they're super intelligent. I don't think you're gonna want to eat it. You'll
Do
be
they
like, oh,
stay tiny?
yeah. They're
Oh
pretty
well,
small.
then no, I wouldn't eat that.
No,
You
they
get
stay
one-
pretty small in comparison to other pigs. So
You get a singular strip of bacon out of it.
that is so sad.
That's so messed up. You go
Did you
through the
eat this
hassle of
morning,
butchering an
Craig?
entire animal for one strip of bacon?
Yeah, what a waste. You gotta use all of its resources: the brain, the tongue, everything.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Did you eat this morning, Craig, by chance?
I did, yeah, I did.
And yet you're still like this. Interesting.
Yeah, I'm a little darker than you may think, Blab. Just throwing it out.
Guess
RPG
so.
says, please make sure the cow doesn't get the peanut butter squirrel government peanut squirrel government treatment. Oh, rest in peace, Peanut.
Woof.
Rest in peace. Suda came in and says, name suggestion, emergency rations.
Emer for short.
Oh, I like it. Mark came in with a 20. Says, I once slapped someone at church with a cow's tongue. No, I will not elaborate further. Mark,
You sinned.
please don't. But I appreciate the visual. That's good. That's something that can be generated via AI for sure. That's good.
Oh my gosh.
Silo full of Cool Ranch Doritos. Says a couple farmers, I know, say you want to separate the male cows and castrate them, or you'll be up to your eyes in cows.
True.
All right. And Jason says, how about you get a cat? Maybe I'm just a little bit normal.
Do you mean we're not eating the cat, right? We're all in favor of this.
No. Well, I mean, it depends.
Nope.
You know? Oh,
There
okay.
is no depends. It's a nope.
It's a no for me, dog.
What's the weirdest animal y'all have eaten?
Oh, I found this
Alligator.
really exotic jerky shop and I had alligator jerky. That was the weirdest thing I've ever had.
I ate alligator in Florida. It was good. No, not Florida. At a state fair. That's right. Yeah.
I ate pony once. I had some.
Oh, did you have IKEA meatballs or something?
No. In Japan.
Oh, okay.
I had some pony. It was at one of those places where you put the meat on top of the fire and you kind of cook
Mm-hmm.
it yourself.
Oh, okay.
And let me tell you this: it was stringy and gross. It was not very good.
Seems fair.
Yeah. T-Mac Burninator came in with a 5. Says, Merry Christmas, side scrollers. Mally is the best mouse. Confirmed.
Well, thank you.
All right, let's move on because, like I said, we are on a time crunch today. We had this thrown at us yesterday, which was very cool to see. We've talked about the upcoming Universal Studios expansion over in Japan and ultimately over here in the United States with Donkey Kong World. Well, we saw the first glimpse of that actually yesterday in Japan as Mario welcomed Donkey Kong and Shigeru Miyamoto to Donkey Kong Land over here. Check out.
I love it.
Yeah, check out Donkey Kong just
Oh,
walking
that is too cute.
with his daddy over there. I guess he's actually their daddy of both of them, which is pretty.
I
cool.
love that he's so excited to
Yeah.
be with the characters. He's like, yeah, Donkey Kong. I love it.
How bizarre do you think it is for Shigeru Miyamoto to like conceptualize these characters 40 years ago and fast forward and he's underneath a Donkey Kong entry to a theme park? That's crazy.
Yeah.
You gotta wonder if they were having a conversation before they went through the tunnel, like Miyamoto and the guy in the DK outfit. Like, oh yeah, how's the wife and kids? Oh, really good. Okay, ready? Let's go. Whee!
You know, a lot of people don't know this, but when it comes to these characters, at least at Disney, they have a tier list for every park. They, you have for Snow White, there's 5 different Snow Whites, and it's kind of like the orchestra or your high school band where they have different chairs, but there's a tier ranking for whoever the best is, and they get the best spots, best time slots based off of longevity or talent or whatever it may be. So this guy, whoever's walking out, he is clearly the number 1 Donkey Kong.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He is the OG.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Top
You don't
dog.
give that kind of a spot to just any old entertainment cast member.
Yeah. No.
Very cool honor too.
Yeah.
I mean, but who can you really tell? Your mascot.
Your resume.
No, but I was like, in a few years from now, you could just be like, yeah, I was that Donkey Kong. Like, that's kind of cool.
I was that Donkey Kong.
That was me.
And obviously this related to the opening of the Donkey Kong Country area in Super Nintendo World. I bet there's somebody probably live streaming that. Probably not right now, but I'm sure somebody is live streaming the experience or has live streamed the Donkey Kong Country area. And I, for one, am very much looking forward to doing that exact same thing come May of next year at Epic Universe. So still being rejected by Universal Studios. They don't understand the value of side scrollers and the normal men yet.
I'm
But
Captain Tism. Let me in.
I would love that.
Oh
you,
my God.
You want to take that off my plate? By all means, let's go. Love that.
No. I mean, like, Universal let me in for Harry Potter stuff, please and thank you.
Oh,
I want to go to the new park. I'm not. No. That's your spot. You'd be like, this is what we do. I would just start getting mad. I'd be like, why don't you give me tickets, bro?
Well, it's not about getting tickets, Blabs. I'm not asking for tickets. I'm asking for a
Well-
spot outside the park.
Yeah.
Yeah, wouldn't that be
I mean,
cool
you
to
could
do a
just sit
show?
up there, right? You could, if you're outside the property, can't you just hang out there?
I mean, yeah, but we don't. I want to do a nice professional show with like real
That's fair.
cameras and stuff. Not just from our phone. I mean, with all respect to phone tubers and all that stuff, I want to make sure we have nice
Phone
microphones. so you
tubers. I
can
didn't
hear
know that was a
out.
thing.
Sure it is. But all right,
Totally.
another quick hit for you here, Mally. Did you see the news? Johnny Depp is possibly coming back to play Jack Sparrow. It says one of 2 Pirates of the Caribbean movies is in development and has a script that could bring Johnny Depp back as Jack Sparrow if Disney can reconcile with him, right? Nothing has been ruled out. Number one, I didn't know that there was like bad blood between them. Is this a thing?
Oh, yeah. So basically what happened was Disney took Amber Heard's side before it was even settled. Fully took her side, booted him out, was like, we don't want someone as bad as him. And then it was proven that he wasn't the bad guy. And they were like, oh, sorry. And they had already made bad blood with him. And he was like, fuck you guys, which rightfully so. Like, I love Johnny Depp as an actor, not as much of a person, but like as an actor, I love him. I love everything he's in. He is right to not go back to them, honestly. Like, let them squander, let them squabble, let them go DEI it up. They already said they wanted to put a woman in to replace him. Go ahead, do that. Watch the following movies fail, and just like every other series, we will go back and watch the originals.
Yeah, and they'll probably go back to him with a big old bag of money and say, hey,
Yeah.
you know, those we kind of sucked on that. So you want to come back and do a cameo or reprise your role or whatever?
Yeah, a cameo. I think that's the most they're gonna get, unless he really is as spineless as he potentially could be. Then you know, the money bags could work. But in general, I think that they really slandered his name during that court case, and that was one of the biggest things going on in his life for a very long time. It still is one of the biggest things I think he's ever gone through in the public eye. It wouldn't be surprising if he just was like standing on that, died on that hill, you know?
Yeah, both Disney and Warner Brothers basically threw him to the curb. So two of the biggest for companies in the world for media just went like, nah, rough.
Yeah.
So someone in the chat was like, how do you not know this, Craig? Well, that was, okay, I was totally out of this space for like a year. I was working in the gun industry. So what was going on with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard was not high on my priority list. And I looked at the timeline on it. It happened in 2022, which totally lines up to me being a total blackout and oblivious to what was going on. So, but it's crazy that seems like it was so much longer ago than just 2 years ago.
It does.
All right. So let's go to another movie here. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is coming out here very, very soon. And Jim Carrey has, I don't know if you've seen those movies. Have you seen Sonic 1 and Sonic 2? Have I asked you about that, Mally?
I've seen enough of the footage to like know that he's, you know, the bad guy in it. I played a little bit of Sonic back in the day, so I get the gist of the story. Yeah. Yeah.
So he's Dr. Robotnik or Dr. Eggman, whichever you. I guess he's technically Eggman, but in the games he's Robotnik. But whatever it is, what it is. I don't know the whole Sonic lore behind it. I just like jumping from platform to platform and getting rings and stuff. So, but he was asked about why he wanted to go back to play Dr. Robotnik for a third time. And he's actually plays Dr. Robotnik and apparently Dr. Robotnik's dad. He plays two characters in this new movie. But he was asked about it. This is what made Jim Carrey come back for Sonic 3. He says, I came back to the universe, first of all, I get to play a genius, which is a bit of a stretch. But he also says, I bought a lot of stuff and I need the money. Which, hey, I appreciate the transparency there, Jim Carrey. So,
I mean, yeah, that's probably the most real. And again, we've all seen so many of these celebrities go crazy in the public eye. So I'm not a fan of who he is. I'm a fan of what he does. But, you know, gotta appreciate that transparency. I don't think there's many other celebrities out there who are willing to look you in the eye and be like, dude, I'm broke. Like, so only very rarely do they admit that they're all wearing fake jewelry too, because they're like, yeah, you don't stay rich by spending your money. Like,
right. I appreciate that he's really in it for the love of the game. He's like, I really love acting and the money. But, you know, Jim Carrey has made some crazy statements over the years. But I remember, what was it? He was with, what was her name? The Playboy model that he was with. And he went around talking about a lot of the like health concerns that people have today. And people like passed him off as crazy. He was talking about vaccines and autism and stuff. And people were like, what are you talking about? And now kind of people look back on that and they're like, oh, okay. I kind of see what you're talking about. But it's interesting to see the Jim Carrey arc. I mean, he is still a Looney Tune. I mean, he's from Hollywood, so
but he almost seems like a little bit more awake of a Looney Tune. Still a Looney Tune. Like he is, crap, I'm forgetting his name now, but he's the bad guy from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. He's a tune in disguise, like as a human, you know? And he's like, you know, you're a little less loony than the others, but you're still a tune.
Right. Fucking Looney Tune. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Christian, this is a reference to yesterday's Tuesday night's main event. Blabs, how much to set that cow on fire? I asked that a couple times last night on Tuesday night's main event. Thank you, Christian. Great to see you. Also did a great job with these awards.
You want to know how to set a cow on fire multiple times?
No. I asked multiple people about, like, I asked Dan Vask. He had an old school Atari from like 1978, and he was so proud of it. And I was like, Dan, how much would it cost for you just to light that thing on fire right now? And he said $10,000. I just think it's an interesting, you know, something you're so proud of. How much are you willing to trade it for money? You know, that's all. So He said,
You
"Look at
are
Mally's face.
strange.
Mally's face is like, what?"
Just the lighting on fire is like, oh my gosh.
And you call me a pyrotechnic.
No, I love burning things.
Oh. Okay.
It's good.
Clipped.
Jason says, "Wait, was this about mascots or dinner?" Thank you, Jason. Autistic accountant says, "Had kangaroo in Australia, very stringy. I also had kangaroo on pizza of all things. Not good.
What?
Not good. Yeah.
Yikes.
Kangaroo is not a good thing.
I refuse to eat kangaroo just because they're too cute.
Yeah, well, they
On
will,
principle, I'm like, nah, I can't do that to you. Look at the fish. Oh.
okay, that's how you die because kangaroos. Do you know how kangaroos kill people? Do you know how? It
Yeah,
happens?
I know all about them. I still think they're beautiful
grab you and
creatures and cute.
And they slice and dice your innards.
Yeah, they also like drown you too and stuff.
Like kangaroos are fucking. They are
Insane. Yes.
They are the.
They're like
the-
all other animals in Australia. They will kill you.
instinct. It's just keeping them safe. Don't go in their world. We won't. They won't come in ours.
Mhm.
Everybody's safe. We're cute over there. Yeah.
Hey,
I fed lots of kangaroos in Australia when I was there last year. I had a good old time. Gave them carrots and stuff. Nobody beat me up.
are the Luigi Mangione of the wildlife.
Mangione.
They got great abs. They're walking
Damn.
around, and all of a sudden they'll just cut you down. Just letting you know that.
Damn. Hey,
Listen.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I just said damn.
And Blabs doesn't get on me for saying that. She gets on me for saying the name wrong.
Yes.
Wait, how do you say it?
Mangione.
Luigi Mangione.
Mangione.
Which literally
Mangione.
translate Mangione is Italian and it means like you eat a lot. Like, oh, Mangione, like you eating a whole lot of food right there. So his name's literally Luigi Eats a Lot.
Yes.
That's hysterical.
Isn't it?
As pointed out, allegedly, the kangaroos are allegedly the Luigi Mangione of the Wild Kingdom. That's good.
Hey, we've never seen him and a kangaroo in the same room. That's all I'm saying.
Excellent point, Mally. Hey, 60 Watt says, "How dare you call Twilight Sparkles stringy and gross, Craig?" I know. I'm sorry. Thanks, 60 Watt. Darth Gavel says, Warhammer 40K TV series confirmed with Henry Cavill. Yeah, I saw that news.
Yeah, but wasn't that confirmed like a year ago and now it's like in full production, I think, like or pre-production?
There was a lot of talk about it. I think there was negotiations for a
okay.
good while. Yeah. M. Pause says, "Holy crap, Stuttering Craig, me remembers you from the Screw Attack days, specifically your biggest bust in gaming video. Glad to see you're going strong, Chief. Also, hello, Blabs and Mally. Have some free cat snuggles." Hey, M. Pause, thank you very much.
Look at the avatar. Oh.
Yeah, that's good. Really appreciate it. Thanks so much for finding me. Yeah, we're kicking ass over here with side scrollers, and it's been a great run for sure. Magnum came in, says Amber Heard is innocent of everything aside from psychopathic violent manipulation. Why are hot women completely insane?
Because they're allowed to be.
That's a good point. They get kind of passed off. Oh, she's hot, but you know.
What is
she's
the
just-
Barney Stinson hot crazy scale is a real fucking thing, all right? And people judge others like that so hard. They're like, oh, it's okay because she's pretty. Like,
Well, hold on. Like people have called y'all pretty before. So like, where are y'all on the crazy scale?
don't worry about that. Don't turn it around on us. This
Okay,
isn't about
okay.
this is about other people. How about that?
Okay, my bad. That's
We
the first
plead the
step.
fifth.
Yeah.
We're not here to talk about me.
Yeah. You're not here for me.
All right, guys, we see all your super chats, direct donations, and Rumble rants. We'll get to every single one of them throughout the show. Once again, coming up in about 25 minutes or so, we're going to have a former Disney employee joining us, and he's going to be spilling the beans as it comes to his time at Disney, and has some great inside stories, which we can't wait to talk about. First, let's talk about Ninja. Now, Ninja, the streamer, he had his heyday, and his heyday was certainly during the height of Fortnite, once Fortnite was originally released. I mean, do y'all remember that the craze in Fortnite? He was playing with Drake and all sorts of stuff. Do you remember that back in the day?
Yeah.
It was a big deal. He was breaking streaming records. And I think that was a really huge moment for not just Fortnite, but for like Twitch. I mean, it was massive. He was streaming to 200,000 people, if I recall correctly. Just massive audiences, all built around, it was like right place, right time, right game with Ninja. And there he is. So it was recently revealed that during his height of fame, he made a ton of money in a single month. Now, did you guys, I think it does say in the run sheet, so y'all have already seen it. Chat, how much do you think that Ninja made in a single month at the height of Fortnite?
It's a disgusting amount. We'll just say that.
It is a repulsive amount.
It'll make you second guess everything that you're doing in life.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna let Ninja tell you himself.
You probably know it. You have to know it.
Just Twitch revenue?
Everything.
I can't. I don't know that. It would.
Come on.
No, I'm thinking, dude. It would have had to have been when we had the month I made probably 5 off the creators, probably like 6.7. I think maybe like 7.
6.7. Don't lie.
I'm not lying.
That is disgusting. You probably know.
Yeah.
So that's $7 million, not $6.7 thousand or $7,000 or $70,000 or $700,000. That's $7 million in 1 month for playing Fortnite.
That's disgusting.
Hey, good for him.
No, 100% good for him, but that is just disgusting, and that is where we are in society, where you get that much money just for playing a video game.
It's not just about playing the video game, Blabs. It's the
marketing.
That's right. Mally, if you had a $7 million month, what's the next thing that you would do?
Oh gosh. What is that post that you always see that's like, I wouldn't tell anyone that if I hit the lottery, but there would be signs? Oh, there would be signs.
Did she just freeze on me?
Oh, hey, take that face. Take that screenshot right there.
Bro.
There it is right there. Oh, man, we got a great thumbnail right there. I love that.
Got it.
There would be signs that Mally has froze up.
I thought that was me for a second because I got like a Windows update saying, you're ready to update. I was like, oh, no, not now. And then boom.
I feel like we just need to take that and maybe make that a
That's already in Canva for you to play with for later.
Oh, way to go. I love everything about that. That's good. That's good. That should be something that we should have on the background, similar to this, right? Just having that at all times. Or maybe
somebody should make a duo of both of our faces, like some meme. I don't know what it is, but like we're both like crazy girlfriend.
Oh, damn, she's out. Oh, man, I was about to... okay. But we also have this one as well. Remember this one, Blabs?
It's true. I still have it. I show it off from time to time. When you were on vacation, I was explaining it all to Kersha, and okay, here it is.
It's great, Blabs.
Mally says her whole house Wi-Fi dropped. Be back ASAP.
Okay, sounds good. Well, listen, the point is that Ninja is rich, bitch. So, and working off one month, $7 million. He says so casually, oh, 6.7. 6.7. Oh, 7. You know, it's like, fuck you. Fuck you.
I know. What would you do if you had that much money? And like, just think about it, that's just 1 month revenue.
If I can be very honest with you,
Disappear?
You would never hear from me again.
Yeah, I figured.
I would, if I made $7 million in a month, what I would do is I would say, Blabs, we have built this amazing audience here. I would like to hand this to you. The show is now yours. I'm gonna go and eat a bunch of food and go get super duper fat
and happy. Yeah, he's gonna like go get like a yacht or something.
And then when I got I really got the crave to it, I would come back as like a VTuber that looks like Asmongold.
Ew! So you'd be smelling gross? Ew.
No, it's a VTuber. No,
you could literally be any VTuber in the world, and you choose that.
No, but really, what I would do. If I had a $7 million, if Side Scrollers had a $7 million month, I would totally reinvest it. I would reinvest it into the platform. Because my thing all along, Side Scrollers is it's not just about the money. It's about changing culture. And I've said that many, many times. You know, yes, it would be great to just kind of disappear, but it's about changing the culture and getting it back to where it was. So that's why we do things.
Fascinating. I'm gonna hold that to you. If you ever become wealthy, I'll be like, so what you gonna do, Craig? You gonna take the money and run, or you just gonna go reinvest?
No, I will. I mean, look, I've said before, I want to get into video games. I want to get into video game development and video game publishing, right? I want to get into live events. I want to do live events again. And I think all these things pertain to culture, right? We can't just talk about this stuff. We got to do stuff with it, you know? So I'm a big guy in action. That's why the Real Game Awards exist. We want to provide alternatives to people. So there's a mission here, and that's kind of what we're going on. But with that said, I would love to be wealthy someday. So there's that. Anyways, hey, Mally, good to see you.
Oh, hi, Mal.
Uh-oh. Oh, and now she's
you
muted.
muted, Mally.
No, I don't think your mic is up.
I cannot do one thing right. I'm a bad streamer. I'm bad at this, you guys. It's okay. I'm an amateur. All I was trying to say is if I had $7 million, I'd be buying land and animals out the wazoo. Probably more than I could care for.
Oh, man, yeah. Land is a big thing for sure. Then you got to pay property taxes on it, even though you already own it.
After a certain age in the right state.
Yeah. If China doesn't own it already. So
it's
there's
fair.
that.
I'd pay off everyone I know's debt and buy land. That's what I'd do.
Hey, let's go. If you guys would like to have your debt paid off by Mally Mouse, send her an email or DM her over on Twitter.
Hold on. Wait. Maybe not. All right. I take it back.
Okay. Hey, Norm says, you might say that Kong was the King Kong. There you go. Thank you, Norm. Appreciate that. Followed up, says Johnny Depp on returning to Sparrow. So Disney agreed to pay me the GDP of Switzerland to return to this role.
Yeah, you have to be fucking...
Soul Silver came back, says, bet if Johnny comes back, Jack will be a side character, will be replaced by a new main character, Boss Girl, and everyone will hate it. Yeah.
Because he is woke, right? So they could pitch him the wokest thing, or at least from what I've seen of him, because he has severe TDS. So I think he's woke. He's so woke that they could just offer him like half the bag of money that they probably should, and this insane story, and he'd be like, okay.
Oh, there we go. Vlad's already on fire. Let's go. Hey, will you do me a favor?
That's funny.
I have some ideas for that. Maybe I'll work on that.
It's on Canva for you to have fun with, Craig.
Okay, sounds good.
I have the same wavelengths.
Sounds good. Eric came in and says, if I'm Depp, I'm saying no. They burned him before anything was proven.
Yep.
This would be the second, third time they're going to throw money at him. Disney needs to prostrate themselves and beg Johnny back, but they're not. Eric, thank you very much. Genuinely appreciate that. That's spectacular. And Dave says, how is streaming income accounted for the purpose of income tax? I wonder how much is left after taxes. So the way I would assume Ninja has it set up, and most streamers probably have it set up, is it goes through a company that's separate to them, like a separate company that they are the head of. And then that company then pays taxes, probably an LLC or something along those lines. So after that, you have your income tax. And then if he pays himself, which is something that is, I don't know how he runs his business, but he probably sees, after it's all said and done, probably 40% of it, which is crazy because high income tax. And I think he lives in California as well. So
he's extra robbed. Yeah.
Yep. Here we go. Bike Short says, hey guys, I have an idea. Every time someone new freezes on the show, you should add it to the Blabs Be Right Back pick. Oh, I like that.
Make a giant collage.
Yeah, that'd be good. Snake Master says, we will find you, Craig. No running until we have your thoughts on both Dread and Dread. Oh, thank you, Snake Master. Appreciate that. All right, let's move on. Once again, in about 15 minutes, we're going to have a former Disney employee joining us. If you guys are tuning in for the first time, do us a favor, hit the thumbs up button. We have a paltry less than 600 likes right now. Let's get that up to closer to 1,000. We got a couple thousand people tuning in right now. If you guys would just hit that thumbs up button, we'd greatly appreciate that. It helps discoverability on the show. We've seen a direct correlation between thumbs up and discoverability. So we'd really appreciate it if you guys took about half a second to do that. So thank you. All right. We've talked about the success of Marvel Rivals here in the last week or so, with over 10 million players in 3 days for this game. And Marvel Rivals is more or less a better version of not Concord, a better version of Overwatch. And this is a game that you've seen all sorts of clips from. It plays a little bit smoother than Overwatch. It has characters that everybody knows or at least can relate to or look at. It has sexy characters and such. And there's this article here of essentially the game director of Marvel Rivals throwing all sorts of shade at Concord. And I don't think he meant to do this, but Concord, if you recall, Mally, was the game that launched. It last 10 days, and then they shut it down after spending like half a billion dollars on development of this thing. This is a game that lasted a long time, and it was shut down after 10 days. So this is courtesy of Eurogamer. It says Marvel Rivals director says Sony flop Concord didn't offer any unique value for players, and I think that's kind of what happens. And this is definitely like a backhanded, just total shade being thrown. It's like, but he's 100% right, 100% right here. So the long and short of it was that he was on this podcast called the Video Gamer Podcast prior to Marvel Rivals release. And Sasser says Concord didn't bring anything original to the table, which would entice players to jump over from other popular shooters already on the market. He says there's a switching cost, the director said. I've already invested in Overwatch. I've got 15 skins for Farah. I'm not going anywhere. And I do think this is 100% true. Once you've invested in a game, it's like there's an alternative. Yeah, but I've invested X amount of money in this or dollars, and I have these skins. Mally, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that first and foremost.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, no, that's how it's been for years. That's why making a really good game is kind of like an accomplishment, because you're pulling other people from other games. We're going to, a lot of us still play games that are 10, 12, 15 years old, and they are very active games that a lot of people still play competitively, online, all these things. So to act like, oh, we're going to just throw something new out there. Well, what's the draw? What makes it good?
Well, he said something that I think we can definitely agree on. And then he continued on, and I think this is where I read this and I was like, yo, this doesn't make any sense at all, because he continued on, and I think it really shows the disconnect between gamers, developers, media, and ultimately the customer, right? The people who are playing these games. He says, as a game developer, you're always worried until the audience has responded, the Marvel Rivals director continued. He says, the truth is that I don't think anyone can accurately predict this or the game industry would be radically different today. There's a lot of games that come out that people are like, it's going to do well, and then it flops. Or people come out and go, it's going to flop, and it succeeds amazingly. So I think it's really hard to tell ahead of time, and you're always worried about that. Yeah, and I saw that, and I was like, I feel like we've hit on the show 90% success rate, 95% as far as being able to look at a game and be like, that's going to fail, or that's going to do well. I'd say the only one that we truly may have missed may have been the most recent one, which is Indiana Jones. And that game, on a Steam perspective, still isn't doing that great. It has yet to cross 15,000 concurrent players over on Steam, but it's on Game Pass. And that's been the big selling point for that. So we don't know the internal numbers, but from a revenue perspective, it may not be performing. But I think we've hit every single one of them, and that was kind of shocking to me that you hear these developers and saying that in particular. The idea like, well, we don't really know if our game's going to do well, but when you're investing hundreds of millions of dollars on creating a game, you should have a pretty fucking good idea that your game's going to do well. And I would think
if you don't have a good idea, maybe you should hire someone that does. Maybe that's him really exposing himself and being like, hey, I, as the person that's too involved, I'm too tied up in it. I can't see what's good. Okay, that happens sometimes. You're a little too zoomed in. Then get someone who can. Because if you're the guy that's making the game and you can't even tell what's going to be good, you shouldn't be making the games, period.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because I put this out on X just a little bit ago. I said this quote is the problem. The video game industry is entirely out of touch with its audience/customer. These folks need to watch some podcast and read some news that aren't from traditional access media. Because you got to think these folks they're reading Polygon, they're reading Kotaku, they're reading IGN, and they're not watching side scrollers. They're not getting news from that Park Place. They're not on X seeing what's happening because they've all migrated to Blue Sky, right? And I said, I've joked about the idea of starting a consulting company, and this statement further drives home the idea that it's needed. They are clueless. And we talked about this for 6 months. The idea of starting up a consultancy firm just to go in and be like, yeah, that's fucking stupid. That's never going to work. And, whether it's normal man consultancy or side scrollers consultancy or whatever, I do think that there's an opportunity there to go into these game companies and be like, what are you doing? Like, that's really, really dumb. And just be as black and white as you possibly can with these folks, not go in and care about the feelings, and more or less take a flamethrower to these folks' games and just be brutally honest. And not really like, it just be a total chainsaw when you walk in, a buzzsaw, and just wreck it if it needs to be wrecked. Because when you're dealing with hundreds of millions of dollars in one, expenditure, and number two, potential revenue, I think that it's worth paying somebody to come in and be that buzzsaw. I don't know. Mally, what do you think?
No, I think that a lot of companies do that, and then there's many more who should, and they don't. And it's the, you need the weightlifter. You need the guy that's going to be unafraid to be the asshole, right? Like a lot of entertainment people have that. It's like the face can't be the asshole, the CEO can't be the asshole. So you gotta hire a guy right underneath that's willing to do all the heavy lifting and all the hard cutting, because that's not easy. And a lot of times the CEO or the guy at the top doesn't like every single decision that's made. You don't have to like it, but sometimes it's necessary, and that's why you need that guy.
Maybe that's what we'll call it: necessary consultancy, or legacy. Necessary. I don't know, or maybe it was called Black Death consultancy, which come in and just destroy the whole thing.
I feel like that could be a racist thing from the SJWs. How dare you?
Only you take it there.
It's already
Blabs.
clipped.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna find you now. Black Girl Gamer be like, he's a racist.
Yeah.
But I think you need to have an asshole. You need to have an asshole that comes in and really tells you like it is. And that's what's missing. We talk about toxic positivity in this industry all the time, where everything's great. Look at this. That's how you get to the point of, well, we don't really know if our game's going to be received well.
Yeah.
Just,
No, I mean, I hate to be the girl that brings Disney into everything, but Roy and Walt are exactly what I'm talking about. Walt Disney was the dreamer, the creator, the I want to make this. And Roy was the, hold on, little bro, we can't afford that. Maybe you should redirect. Maybe you should rethink it. And Roy was, for a lack of better terms, for what we're describing now, the asshole. He was the one that was like, I'm going to keep it real so that my little brother's dreams can come true. And it was the balance that made that company succeed. And that company shouldn't have succeeded for many, many different times. It almost failed. They were on the brink of failure at multiple different times in the early days. But it was because, I believe, of the balance between Walt and these other people he would hire that really challenged him. That's like, yeah, you're going to have a successful company when you welcome opposing opinions.
Yeah, it's amazing to see how many people in the industry just do this. They don't want to. They cover their ears and they say no. Criticism is bad, because it always goes back to the fifis. My feelings. I don't want to upset anybody. So. Yeah. All right, let's go and move on. Once again, here in just a couple minutes, we're going to have Robert joining us. Robert is a former Disney employee who is ready to spill the tea about his time at Disney, and we're going to be talking about that here in just a few minutes. And I'm pretty sure while we do that, we're going to give Mally and Blabs the opportunity to just take over the show and go crazy, which I'm very much looking forward to, because I look forward to going into Canva and modifying Mally's picture with Blabs. That we have.
I already retweeted it. It's great.
Oh, good. All right, before we do, let's go to our lead here that was in the thumbnail today. I'd feel like we definitely should talk about this before we bring in Robert. But Assassin's Creed Shadow, game from Ubisoft, big game that should be out right now, was scheduled to come out a couple weeks ago, but was pushed to February 14th, 2025 to fix some bugs and add some gameplay and stuff. So they've started to release some gameplay of Assassin's Creed Shadows, and it has not gone over very well. The top response to this is Assassin's Creed Shadow combat looks lame, boring, and uninspired, which are three very generic words, but everybody understands what they mean. I personally, I'm not a huge fan of the word uninspired, but that's just me. With that said, let's go check out some of this gameplay. And here's your Assassin's Creed game in Japan. Hold on, I'm sorry. I just want to back up real quick. It says Katana combat on ice. I'm just curious. when watching this, is there any slippage? Like, why would you highlight on ice if
At
there's
the
not
very start, I saw it, but not during combat.
Right. Okay, just curious. A little bit right there.
Right there.
Yeah. Yep.
And then
like you'd
you're
be
on ground.
slipping all over the place.
You're not on ice.
Yeah. Okay.
She did like a little like slight move when she finished her poses. If you pay attention, you rewind a little bit. There's like a little bit.
Oh,
You see
I
that?
saw-
Just there.
Okay. I saw that.
That's it though. I honestly, when you say on ice, I think like Disney on ice or something. So I would have thought it would have been like some whole like whoa. I would know.
Did you think she was going to do a triple Lutz before she
Hey
sliced his
man,
head
why
off?
not? Got plenty of space.
Okay, let's continue. Keep in mind, this is a 110-pound girl, straight up girl boss in this guy, giving him a JBL, WWF, WWE clothesline from hell here, taking this guy out. What? All right. Nice. Okay. We got a katana duel. Pretty standard so far. Just like to throw out that he stabbed this guy in the chest right here, and he was still standing for one final blow.
Yeah.
Stamina.
All right.
That was fast.
There you go. Okay.
I feel like this is gonna be a parody game.
a parody game.
Yeah. It just looks so silly.
I mean,
It does.
it looks like something I've seen before a million times. That's what it looks like. And
Yeah.
I don't know. The first thing, the katana combat on ice, that's the first thing that like really kind of drew me in. It was like you would think they'd be like slipping a little bit if you're actually on ice.
That would be actually a really cool like thing. I think everyone
make
would
it
be
harder
happy.
to battle.
Yeah, and it'd be a unique thing because how many times do you see that in gameplay where you're slipping on ice and you have to fight on ice and everything? Like that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Dude, that'd be fun.
Wasted opportunity.
Norm says this looks like the same combat as Valhalla. What has changed exactly? Answer: nothing. Right.
What do you mean? Is a reskin?
Just add a little bit more.
Now I can see myself in it. I can see myself in the character.
Suna came in and says they put more work in on Minecrafting the Japanese than respecting Japan's culture. Yeah, I'm very intrigued to see how this game's going to do. We talk about the consultancy side of this. I just don't see this game. Like people talk about the brand Assassin's Creed, and a lot of normies will go out and buy this game because it says Assassin's Creed on it. But we saw an Indiana Jones game that is kind of underperforming. We saw the Star Wars game underperform. I don't think Assassin's Creed carries the weight that it once did, especially surrounded by all this controversy here. So we'll see. We will see for sure. Joey says, I'll just stick to playing Ghost of Tsushima for my samurai game fix. AC Shadows looks boring. Darth says, so Craig, Japanese companies hire the asshole to keep the bosses from destroying the company. They call them the American. Let's go. I would love to be that American. All right, and here we go. Tom says, the Stan Hansen clothesline, greater than JBL. Craig, you casual. Oh, sorry, Tom. Appreciate that. I thought I was throwing in like a nice wrestling reference there, and here I am getting bodied by the normal men in the chat, which is good. All right, okay, so there's the gameplay for Assassin's Creed Shadows. Would love to hear your thoughts on that in the chat. And obviously, if you guys are watching after we're live, let us know in the comments what you think of this. All right, we have a special guest joining us right now. Very excited to bring on this former Disney employee. Actually works in game development now. I have not met this gentleman yet, but I'm looking forward to talking to him. It's Robert Carter. Robert, how are you?
Hey, good. Thank you for having me on. Am I coming through okay?
Yep, you're good.
Look good,
Awesome.
sound good. So first and foremost, man, welcome to the show. Glad you're here. Give us a quick background on you and why you are credible and all that stuff.
So yeah, I got started in the games industry kind of at the tail end of what we call the golden age now, back before day one patches, back before always online single player. So I got a glimpse of both worlds, which is nice. But I had a bit of a falling out with the games industry and was looking for work. Didn't exactly want to go into corporate, and I ended up at Imagineering. Actually, I turned down a job offer from Blizzard at the same time, which I thought for sure I was going to live down as my biggest regret. Thankfully, it ended up not being the case. This was, again, the tail end of Blizzard being at its heyday, and got to spend 4 wonderful years at Disney Imagineering. There was a lot of heartache involved. Disney slowly became what it is today. But there was a lot of joy along the way. It was great building some of those things out. So then I got back into games, mostly some small indie studios. And games industry being what it is, I actually got laid off last Tuesday with my entire team.
Oh,
so
shit. Okay.
It's the way it goes.
You're joining one of the 14,000 people who have lost their job in 2024.
Exactly. Yeah.
Man. So, okay, a couple things there before we kind of let Mally and Blabs go crazy. You said you had a falling out with the gaming industry. What does that mean?
So, super long crunch hours, working 80 plus hours a week. There was specifically December, I remember, where I had to rethink things because we had a full week off for Christmas to New Year's. And despite that full week off, I still put in over 300 hours that month. And all overtime is unpaid. So it got to the point where I didn't even do anything during my week off. I was just recovering. And that let me step away for a little while.
Okay, I understand. I understand. So can you give us a quick time frame on this? You said towards the golden age before patches and all this stuff. Like, what was the time frame that you were working in the industry and then you got hired by Disney?
So I started as an intern in 2011, and then was full hired in 2012. And I started working for Disney in the tail end of 2013.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I worked for them for 4 years until about end of 2017, and then entered the games industry again.
Okay. And if you don't mind me asking, can you talk about who you got fired from this past Tuesday?
Kind of. There's only a little bit I can talk about. It's a small company. Most probably haven't heard of it. It's called Gala Games. They actually do a lot of cryptocurrency stuff. Beyond the specifics of that, I can't really say much because things are still ongoing. Still negotiating severance and all that.
Yeah,
So,
totally fine.
but yeah,
totally fine. Okay. I saw that you received the Innovators Award at Disney. What exactly is that?
So I've got a couple of them actually. Let's see if I can get on camera. These are given to Imagineers and other Disney employees who their work allows Disney to file patents. So you get your name on the patent. Disney owns it, obviously. But they're not exactly rare at Imagineering. A lot of people do very creative things over there. They kind of push the boundaries, and Disney tries to reward Imagineers that do things on the side or in their free time. Disney, of course, will own these things, but they do give you the award, and it's there's a nice little ceremony and everything. So yeah,
it's one of those things where it's like the T-shirt that you see. It says like I created a multi-million-dollar patent for Disney, and all I got with this lousy T-shirt. Right?
Exactly.
All right, Mally, Blabs, go crazy.
Well, Mally, this is your time to shine.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Dude, I mean, you could just talk about your entire experience there and I would be absolutely fascinated. What was it like working for them during the time when Disney was still considered to be something that people liked?
Yeah, it was incredible. It was very interesting watching how things worked under the hood. I was involved with a lot of what we call blue sky Imagineering, which is essentially R&D, pre-production. And the essential pitch is, if money's no constraint, if reality's no constraint, what would you build? What would you make for the guest that's just going to blow them away, take them into another world? And then when those get approved, we slowly bring those down into reality and try and implement them into the park. And the process from initial conception into full creation is kind of mind-blowing. And just what some of the people were able to do, some of the things you're able to push. A good example would actually be something that happened before my time. So almost every team that builds something like this now has what they call a tiger moment. And if you don't know the story of the tiger moment, when Animal Kingdom was being pitched, just like everything else being pitched, you have to go through layers and layers and layers. So you have to prove to some low executive who then pushes it up to a VP, and then you show everything to him, and then they push it up to a president, maybe a few more presidents, and then eventually you get to pitch to Iger. And obviously everything has to be approved. Any changes has to go back down the chain, back up the chain. So before Iger sees anything, all of these executives have said, yes, this is okay, show this. Well, Animal Kingdom had something up their sleeve that they didn't show anyone, that they didn't tell anyone outside the team. And what it was is towards the end of the demo, when Iger's seen everything that all the executives have seen, the executives are getting ready to go. They say, we have one more thing to show you. And all the executives start getting really nervous, but of course they can't interject at this point. They've got to kind of play along. And they bring out a tiger, and they bring it right up to Bob Iger and let him pet it. And that moment is why Iger greenlit Animal Kingdom. It is at least one of the bigger reasons why he greenlit it. And so every studio now tries to have what they call their tiger moments. Although a lot of the executives who are approving this are like, look, just let me in on the secret. Don't give me a heart attack like this team did.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, it's kind of fun trying to think of that tiger moment, that moment that's really going to showcase why this is a Disney thing and not just, a random zoo, right?
Right.
So those are really fun, and just the creativity in these demos of how do we show what's going to take us 8 months to build, and we have 2 months to build a demo for an executive. And so it can get a bit hectic, it can get a bit crazy.
Yeah.
But it was tons of fun.
Wow. That is so cool. Sorry, I'm just taking it in. Somebody else say something.
Wow.
Okay, well, actually, I want to know about this Zootopia stuff, because I even tried Googling it, and I couldn't find anything. So please, the floor is yours, because I'm very interested.
Which Zootopia stuff?
How it's was nearly torpedoed.
Oh, okay. Yes.
And we're talking about the movie here, correct?
Yes, the 2016 movie.
Okay, so this is mostly secondhand information, but I have verified it through many people. I didn't ever work with the animation studio, but I worked with people. We all shared the same quad at the Glendale campus. So the original story of Zootopia, you could see some of this in the art book and a few other things. Nick was the protagonist and Judy was the deuteragonist. And the story, the characters were almost entirely unchanged. The biggest difference being Judy was actually a seasoned cop. She was, if you ever watched Cowboy Bebop, Jet was known as the hound or the dog or something, because once he gets into something, he never lets go. He always gets his man. He always figures the case out. That was kind of Judy. And very, very late in production, Lasseter comes in and says, this is great. Rewrite everything from scratch. I'm giving you 4 months. And this was late enough in production that they had already done final modeling on several of the characters.
Oh.
And they had to rewrite the entire story simply because he wanted Judy to be the protagonist, not because of any flaw in the story, not because anything else. And they had to go crazy in 4 months and rewrite the whole thing. The fact that the movie is as good as it is a testament to their skill, creativity, and dedication. But of course, as you can imagine, it was not the greatest experience for them. And most of that team, I would imagine, are no longer at Disney. I feel this is a huge reason why so many of the Disney recent releases at best have been okay, and most of them have not been great. And you have things like Puss in Boots that blow people away. Had a horrible opening weekend, and word of mouth saved it, and it stayed in theaters something like 8 months because of how good the movie was. And I think that's because DreamWorks has siphoned a lot of talent from Disney who are just fed up with it. But anyway, yeah, so the original story was a bit different. It did have the drug that made animals go feral. There was a bit of things, but if you notice, there's a pig character that shows up in 2 scenes. She shows up at the DMV. She's getting her picture taken, and she shows up at the end of the movie. She's guarding Bellwether as a cop, and she's extremely well detailed for a background character with no speaking lines. That's because she was originally going to be the mayor of Zootopia, and she was one of the first models that they had completely finished. When they rewrote the story, they needed a predator as the mayor, and so they had this fully finished model and nowhere to put her. So she got 2 cameos.
Wow.
I had no idea.
I was thinking about her. Yes.
Wow.
Oh
Interesting.
my gosh. Wow. To flip things upside down like that. And we've heard a couple of what Disney has done to the recent movies. I mean, Inside Out 2 was one of the biggest ones we'd heard about recently, and just how much stress those animators and Imagineers were on that project. And like how the irony, they were saying this is a movie about mental health, and I'm like about to lose my shit. And it's like, yeah, now we understand. Now we're getting a fly on the wall type view of this is how they function on a regular basis. It sounds like they never lost the chaos from Walt's era, and they just kind of perpetuated that until now.
Yep. And in a way, it's gotten worse. You mentioned a little while ago that there was kind of a mixing of ideas before, with Walt being the dreamer, Roy being the businessman. They worked well together. That was the idea for Imagineering as a whole. You don't just get artists to design the art stuff. You don't just get engineers to engineer everything. You get them in the same room and you get them collaborating. Engineers weighing in on the art stuff, artists weighing in on the engineering stuff. And Imagineering's kind of lost that. I think Disney as a whole has kind of lost that. You have people being told, stay in your lane, do what you do, don't do anything else. But the executives get to weigh in on everything, who have no expertise on anything.
Yeah.
And that's you're seeing the result of that in a lot of things. I think you guys talked last week about the new shop at the Haunted Mansion that just looks like a shack. There's so much potential that you can do with that. I reached out to a few people. I tried to find someone on that team to see what they were going through, because I was just thinking what we would have done when I was there, and seeing, I haven't seen it in person yet. I'm going to go in a week or two, but just knowing the way we would have approached that, I can't imagine how this thing turned out the way it did.
No, it's devastating when you see concept art and then you see this. It's like you get people all kinds of excited. You show that you have the potential and the imagination to create it. You have the money. You have the time even. Why not? Oh.
So, okay, the initial idea of kind of the blue sky approach of like anything's possible, let's make it happen. Is that still, or at least when you left, was that still very much a concept, the idea of like, look, the whole Disney thing is if you can dream it, you can do it, right?
Yep.
Do you feel like that's still a motto at Disney today, or is it more like if you can dream it, you can do it within ramifications of a budget?
Yeah, I mean, they still. The problem is it's a double-edged. Double-edged sword isn't the right thing I'm thinking of, but they're kind of bipolar with it. There are some projects I was blown away, especially early on in my career. Just starting out, not too far away from college. A few $100s is a lot of money to me, and I have to sheepishly be like, well, to get this thing tested, I need this device that's going to cost $3 million. And the accountant goes, I can get it to you by Thursday. Is that okay? And then on other projects, we're like, oh, we want to test this high quality speaker. And they're like, well, this one's 50 cents cheaper, so we're going to get you that one instead. And it's like, how does this make any sense? On certain projects, they just are like money, money, money. And then on other projects, they're like, oh, we're gonna try and save $1 here or there. It's, what are we doing here? So there's a lot of that where it depends on the type of project you're on. And sometimes you really got to wonder if the money even makes sense. I've got a small story I can share of right before I started working there. There was something called the Philips Disney Storylight. And this came around the era you guys were talking about with Angry Birds. The App Store is a very new thing. People are still figuring out. Most apps are not even free to play as a model. And so there was a Disney Storybook app. This Disney Storybook app read a few stories to your kid, simple. This device was just a light, a single LED in the shape of Mickey's head that you would point towards your wall. It would light a single color, and it would add some ambiance. So you're reading about Ariel under the ocean. It shines ocean blue. Tinkerbell, it starts yellow. Doesn't do much. They decided to price this thing at, I think it was $120 to $150. None of them sold because it's a single LED for $150. And the person in charge of that was promoted to VP for running this, and everyone on the team was laid off. And that's been a very common story of these colossal failures, which are largely a failure at the executive level. Executives all get promoted, and the team gets laid off. Now, at Disney, at least back when I was there, I think they still have this. They did have, I wouldn't call it a good policy, but if you have the bad policy of layoffs are very common at Disney, they did have kind of a safety net. For 2 months, you keep everything. You keep your park access, your discounts, your pay. Great. but the most important thing you keep is your badge access. You can go into the Disney building, you can network with people during lunch. The quad there is basically an open air meeting room. And if you wanted to stay at Disney, you can network and find your way back onto a Disney project. It did feel, I was never laid off during my time there, but I did have 3 layoffs that hit my team alone the 4 years I was there. And everyone who wanted to stay with Disney did stay with Disney. They found themselves another team. But it did hurt watching the executives simply get promoted every time. And all the people who were working to build these things have to work and find another job, basically.
Oh my gosh, just completely. I mean, yeah, no, we've always known that Disney's like this, but just to hear it straight from you, someone who experienced it firsthand, is jarring. That is so disgusting of Disney, and no wonder, Warner Brothers, Universal, whatever other companies are siphoning, employees, as they should. Disney is showing their lack of attention to their customer, their fan base, and everything, and their employees in their parks and in their media. They're fucking up absolutely everywhere. Every single change. I mean, I'm a parks fan more than a media fan. Every change they've made in the parks is being shit on absolutely right now. I mean, oh, you're going to get rid of Jim Henson's last project. Great. Okay. You're going to get rid of the Rivers of America for a knockoff Cars Land. So now there's no draw to California and there's no water. Bet that cost you millions to put in the first place. But yeah, let's just rip it out. All kinds of things. I was ranting about Haunted Mansion last time. Haunted Mansion just sits in the middle of Tiana's entire story now. Tiana owns half of the entire park over there, and Haunted Mansion's like, what? That doesn't make sense. That's not even a bayou, for goodness sakes. I could go off on that one, but just, they're really fucking up their parks. I have been an annual pass holder well over half my life. I've said this before, 20 years I have been, I think 19 or some change, but 20 years of my 25 years on this earth, I have been an annual pass holder to Disneyland, California, and they're losing me in the next few months. I've already decided to not renew. Like, that's a statement.
That girl, Mally.
Well, speaking of theme parks, as Mally just mentioned, you wrote down, Robert, that you had a lot of insight on like management at the theme parks, how the attitude of if a ride was broken, it's not my problem. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes. So maintenance at the parks is an ongoing problem. And they kind of, I don't want to speak too much because I never worked with maintenance, but I saw a lot of what they won't do. And a good example of this is the Indiana Jones ride. It was first ride that I went to that was a grand opening at the park as a kid. I remember it. And if you went 6 to 8 months after, again, you would notice the ride was a bit different. Certain lights weren't blinking on. The mirrors that swing open weren't swinging. You usually have all the guests funneled into one of the 3 zones. The big statue that's supposed to shine a light on you when you come in wasn't shining the light, and a lot of that's because maintenance just didn't do the scheduled routine maintenance on these things. Yeah, exactly. So if it's considered non-essential, for example, a lot of those lights, maintenance just won't go in and fix it. They won't replace a light bulb. Now, in their defense, part of it is because there's so much they have to do in the parks that is required. The Haunted Mansion is notorious for having cars break down, having the ride stop for a little while. Part of this is there's a gear bearing that has to be replaced on the cars every 2 weeks. Now, replacing the gear bearing takes a few minutes. Getting to the gear bearing requires taking the entire car apart, which takes over an hour. So if it's required, a lot of Indiana Jones was designed with the mind of they can get to this without getting to essential stuff. And because of that, maintenance says we're just not going to do it. And things just haven't worked since it originally opened. So now Imagineers are doing the opposite. They're hiding unessential things behind essential things so that maintenance has to change the essential thing anyway. And now, since they're already there, they can change the light bulb that's right in front of them, which is compounding the issue because now maintenance has more work every week to get to all these obnoxious things, but now they have to do it. So it's kind of a tug of war where Imagineering is like, look, just fix the light bulb so that the ride looks as we intended. And maintenance says no. So then things are designed poorly. And so then maintenance complains, you can't design it this way. The first thing they do as an Imagineer is they take you through the park and maintenance tells you about all of the hardships that they have. And they do have some serious hardships. I don't mean to downplay those. But it's really difficult to spend years designing something and then it never gets seen by any guests who appear after the first 3 to 6 months because maintenance doesn't want to change the light bulb.
You know, they brought this out. Something that breaks every 2 weeks seems like a really bad design.
No logic there whatsoever.
Oh my gosh. You brought up Indiana Jones, and my heart just dropped because I know Indy. Everyone knows Indy is the breakdown ride of them all. I mean, I know Haunted has its moments too, but because, like you said, it can be fixed and then it runs pretty good. Indy is like, you go in and it's working, you better jump on because it's not going to be. And you might actually get put out of line while you're waiting. It's like you do. They design these rides horribly and intentionally. And Indy's also a rough ride. So I can imagine when something does break down, it probably is going to stop the whole thing because you can't put someone on that. And so much of these rides, I've said this for years, but like Disney is a walk through a storybook. A Disney ride, a Disneyland ride is a walk through a storybook. And a Universal ride, for example, is a walk through a movie. So like I jump when I'm on a Universal ride. It can get me sometimes. Disney will never get me. In fact, they kind of bore me at times because they do. It's the storybook effect of I'm just not going to worry about that light. Well, that light brought it to life. And now I can see the mechanics and I can see the animatronics and I can see into their fur and I can see Tiana's arm because her dress slipped and all these ill thought of moments. And it's just to add to what you said, so heartbreaking that they have to start hiding these issues so the maintenance team will do their job. Not that they don't have hardships like you said, but just hire more than. Like Disney, you have all the money in the world. Make it work. You have this mass company. You need to make it work.
Yep.
Ugh.
One of the worst things of the Eisner era was he cheapened out at the parks. And the whole reason Disneyland works is, and Walt said this from the get-go, my park will work because it's not like those other ones. And the other ones, he was referring to all the dirty theme parks that existed and went bankrupt. Eisner, during that era, it was notorious that the park was dirty. There was litter, there was trash, because he cut every service he could to the bone. And we saw a little bit happen under Chapek, which I'm not surprised. I worked very closely with Chapek for a couple of my years there. And they'd been grooming him to take over for Iger for a long time. Iger actually tried to leave as early as 2015. He has political ambitions he wants to get to. But
joy.
Yeah, they said he wasn't ready, so they put him as chairman of Parks and Resorts for a little while, and we saw those effects start to trickle in there. So I'm hoping those decisions will be reversed. I actually do know a few people who still work at the parks, and they are making some improvements, but they're not making the big ones they need to make.
Robert, can you hold on for a second? You said you worked with Chapek. You said
yes,
intimately, personally, something along those lines. What did you work with on him, and just kind of walk me through that?
Sure. So there was a small project at Imagineering that could have become a big project. Imagineering, of course, does all the things at the theme parks, rides, resorts, stuff like that. There was an idea of, can we create something that the guests can take home with them that's an Imagineering level experience? And we looked at this, and people said, toys haven't really changed since the 80s, really, except for how cheap microchips are now. They haven't changed since the 60s or 70s. So we thought, can we create an Imagineering level experience that guests can take home? Essentially, toys that are smart enough to play with the players. And this is, 2012. This was before smart devices, Internet of Things. And so at the time, Bob Chapek was the president of DCP, Disney Consumer Products. And so we got to work very closely with him. And we got to see projects gutted and destroyed by him to skip ahead a bit. And this project was one of them. The playtest we had for this was amazing. The demo hardware that we had was essentially real. We just had to mass produce it. And to be fair, this is not all Chapek's fault. He was mostly hands off on this. This was Hasbro cheapening everything out. But we had kids going crazy for our demo stuff that was ready to go, and Hasbro has an internal demand of a 600% markup. So what we thought we were going to be making.
Whoa, Miss Lippy. Hold on. Hasbro says there needs to be a 600% markup.
Don't know if they still have this policy, but that was the policy then. If we wanted to sell this thing for $120, it could not cost complete factory wrap to the shelf more than $20. So as you can imagine, our really cool devices turned into just junk on the shelves, really.
Wow.
Okay. Yep. So you'll never find a Hasbro product that is less than $6, more or less. I mean, the idea of that. Wow, that's crazy. That's okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for interrupting.
No.
Continue.
Yeah. No, I wish one of my biggest regrets is that I didn't keep any of the footage or any of the pictures of these devices because they were so cool to see. We were worried the playtests were going so well with these kids. We were worried that kids were just being polite and lying to us. And then we had playtests where some non-engineers did some engineering stuff. We had some bugs. We found out that kids are in fact not polite. If they hate everything you do, they will be very honest that you've made horrible life decisions and you should feel bad, which was good. It validated the feedback of when they were good. But we actually had a playtest where we decided to see how far we can take it, how unfun can we make things, and still have the kids have fun. Because it all depends on how you spin it. You know, as Mally was mentioning, bringing you into that storybook world. So we themed a Jedi training session. This is right when Disney bought Star Wars. We had haptic headsets so that the headset actually rests on your cheekbones and vibrates slightly to stimulate your inner ear, so that your outer ear is open. Because we wanted to test an experience that you could have essentially headphones, but still listen to the outside. So if you're running around in a park, someone can shout to you. And so we decided we're going to have this test purposely be fun. We're going to run all these kids through a training course. They're going to have them do push-ups, burpees, go nuts. We're going to have them sit and meditate. Try and have a 6 or 7-year-old kid sit for a minute silently with nothing but maybe light ambience, right? Impossible. We did that one specifically like, this is probably going to fail. This is likely to fail. We expect this to fail for everyone. Lo and behold, we had these kids go crazy on the obstacle course, crazy on the training stuff. And by obstacle course, I mean all bodyweight exercise. It's not like there was a jungle gym or anything interesting. It was all imagination. And we got them to sit and meditate. And I remember one of them specifically. So there was this very large kid. He was a bit rotund. He was been in the snacks a little bit too much.
It's very nice of you. That's good.
Yes. And
very kind.
He gave it his all. He went completely out on the training. He was drenched in sweat. And when it came for him to ask us questions about it, his first one was, "Can I please do that again?" Now, his parents are watching the camera feed. His mom turns to us and just says, "How much is this? I'll write you a check right now. I've been trying to get him to exercise and now he's begging to do it," kind of a thing. We knew we had a major success on our hands. Just again, pure imagination, but you concoct it the right way. You build it out the right way, and you can make something incredible. And we were literally unable to do so because of the constraints on Hasbro. The device we did launch to shelves that didn't sell anything, but I got this here.
That's cool.
So this is definitely the cheapened out Hasbro version of what we were testing. Don't go look for it. I'm sure there's warehouses full that'll sell you one for $0.01 at this point, but don't expect the amazing things that I'm describing here because they weren't there. But on this device, the memory on the unit is about 1 megabyte, and it can only process 1 kilobyte of data at a time.
Oh, wow.
Since I was the engineer, me and a few of the other guys had to really redo everything we were doing in prototyping. Even the cheap little Arduino units we were using to prototype this were way, way more advanced than what ended up in this. And it's just a shame that everything we'd worked on was basically just thrown out the window for making a toy that was already on the shelf.
Wow. So it doesn't sound like Disney actually wants to innovate at all. They want to use all these big fancy names and words and descriptions and make you guys seem like and put you on the pedestal like you are these creators, you are Imagineers, you get to create and only your imagination is your limit. And then it's like, oh, actually, we're gonna just yank that rug out from under you.
Yep.
So I saw that you had the Avengers right there. So could you go a little bit onto like Avengers Campus and Galaxy's Edge?
Sure. So Avengers Campus was an interesting story because they weren't sure what they wanted to do with it. Galaxy's Edge too. For excuse me, for the initial part of Galaxy's Edge, they actually talked about getting rid of Tomorrowland.
What?
Yeah.
Look at Mally.
So thankfully, that was exactly some of the executives' position on that. Like, no, if it's in the original park, you do not remove it ever under any circumstances. End of story. Trust me, there are plenty of good people left at Disney. It's just they get overruled by others a lot. But similar with Avengers Campus, that was originally going to be in the main park. They have that Tony Stark area next to Space Mountain. Used to be World of Tomorrow kind of stuff. They've been trying to figure out what to do with that area for ages. They can never figure it out. So they were thinking about maybe scooping all that out and replacing it there. But they wanted a bit more space, ended up in California Adventure. And they were going through a lot of things at this time to figure out what to put there. There was a really cool idea where the area in Disneyland next to Space Mountain was going to be effectively that nightclub from Tron. They were going to have animatronic Daft Punk up there. You could go get a drink and some food and stuff. Unfortunately, that got canceled. Happens with a lot of really great ideas. You should have seen the prototypes. It would have been awesome.
Oh.
But for the Avengers campus, they moved it into California Adventure. California Adventure has been struggling to find an identity, to find a real draw for a while. They've tried things here and there. They keep moving things around. And they figured, Avengers, Marvel, super popular, and we're just going to pound that in there and try and make it work. And that's really all the thought they put into it. That's why there's a lot of things where they reskinned. And to be fair, the reskinning of Tower of Terror into Guardians of the Galaxy was originally going to be a lot more mundane, and the Imagineering team really fought to put in a lot of the stuff you see in there, a lot of the things in the line when you're walking through, a lot of the interaction, because it was really just going to be a quick reskin, and there wasn't going to be much thought put into it. And the team really fought to make sure that there was more than that. That was a success, and so they greenlit the broader Avengers Campus, and thankfully, because they added so much stuff in there, a lot of those things got brought out to life. Galaxy's Edge, unfortunately, fell a little bit more into not as much effort. Now, granted, it has a ton of things that are great, but it doesn't look like any area of Star Wars. They were still in the mindset of, we're never going to mention the prequels. That's the evil redheaded stepchild. And we don't really want to talk about the OT as much. We want it to eventually become all new Disney. And of course, they've gone through cycles now of like, well, no, the OT's popular. Well, the prequels weren't that bad, and so it's all over. But we were getting crazy direction on the project I mentioned, where we were going to make something on my team for Star Wars. We got different feedback from Lucas every single week. We were told something had to be skinned with the Cave of Evil, which is the cave Luke goes into in Dagobah. And then the next week we were told it's off limits. You can't use the Cave of Evil for anything. No, it doesn't work that way. Okay, so we scrapped all that. And then a few months later, we had an executive go, where's the Cave of Evil? I told you to use the Cave of Evil. So there's a lot of discordant talk and chatter we get from Lucas a lot. I'm assuming that's hopefully been ironed out. And unfortunately, it may be ironed out because Kathleen Kennedy simply has an iron grip now, and so she is the only one making direction. That's one way to solve the problem, I guess. But it was difficult because we were getting told different things every single day, especially on some of the gaming stuff that we wanted to implement. There were things similar to Smuggler's Run that were bigger and better, in my opinion, than Smuggler's Run that got axed. But a lot of people at Lucas didn't seem to understand video gaming stuff. Like, they didn't understand the need for cooldowns on abilities, for example. Like, no, if someone can do something in the Force, they can always do it. And it's like, okay, we get it. That's how it works in real life. Real life being the story. But in a game, you can't just let Darth Vader go around choking everyone, because then Darth Vader just wins every time. And yes, that's how Darth Vader would actually function, but we need the game to have some back and forth. So it wasn't the end of the world. A lot of people we work with directly were fine, but the flybys we got by executives, we actually had a term for that at Disney because it happened all the time. We call it the pissing on the tree, because an executive is going to come by your project and he's just going to mark a little bit of his territory. What he's going to do is he's going to come by, you're going to show him your project, and he's going to see it for 30 minutes. And he's going to make a demand. And your team is going to have to implement this demand no matter what. Now, if your project is a success, he's going to claim credit. It was, the one little tiny bit that he demanded that was shoehorned in there. That's why your project was a success. And if it's a failure, it's like, oh, I didn't have anything to do with that project. And that happens a lot. You see it happen a lot in the gaming industry too, which is why stuff like Anthem, wasn't originally going to have jetpacks, and they had to redesign half the game halfway through production because some executives said add jetpacks. You get that a lot at Disney, unfortunately, and especially the bigger your projects. And it's been a problem for a long time. If you don't know, the tug of war between Pocahontas and Lion King when those were under development. Lion King thankfully ended Katzenberg's role in the animation studio. He was terrible influence there, because all of the executives were pouring everything into Pocahontas, and all of them ignored the Lion King as the redheaded stepchild. And the Lion King, of course, is what won out at the box office because it had all of the creatives without any of the executive oversight. And that's what they were able to deliver. Whereas Pocahontas, was retooled, fine-tuned, changed this. And it was story by committee versus story by creatives. And you'd think they would learn from that. They haven't.
Can you talk about it seems like that's a reoccurring theme with when you have a company that's as big as Disney and so many moving parts, you have these executives who want to put their stamp on it. You said pissing on the tree, right?
Yep.
What's the most egregious example you've seen of that, where you were like, this is going to work, and then an executive came in and was like, well, I got to slap my dick down and let everybody know how important I am?
Most egregious example. Honestly, the Zootopia one is definitely in the running. Like I said, they were very late in production. To just say, screw it, rewrite the whole story, I'm not giving you any more time or budget, just get it done. That's a big one. Off the top of my head, while I was there, I can't think of any bigger ones, but I'm sure there are some that I'm just not thinking of.
No worries at all. No worries at all. All right, guys, if you have any thoughts or questions here for Robert, please let us know in the chat. This is great. Sly Rye came in and says the practice Robert's referring to of a project getting greenlit team leads being promoted. The project no longer have leadership, team being laid off, and the project shuttering is common. Google's been doing this for years. Mercenary says all these people who are sabotaging Disney have to go preferably on a canon. All these people who are sabotaging Disney have to go preferably out of canon. Okay, especially okay. Thank you, Mercenary. Appreciate the double up. Alani came in with the 10, says the eternal war between engineers and mechanics continues. After working on drones in the Army, I understand the phrase, an engineer will walk past 50 hookers to screw a mechanic. It's great. Flickerbox says Hollywood's so bipolar, it's like watching a Michael Bay movie. Explosive, over the top, missing all the nuance. Sometimes I miss it. Thanks, Flickerbox. Appreciate that.
Also, Robert, sorry if I wanted to interject. I just wanted to ask, what's your home park? Are you more familiar with California, more familiar with Orlando? Or are you just kind of a mix?
I'm definitely more familiar with California. I've only been to the Florida parks once, but I still live in Los Angeles, so I still frequent the Disneyland parks, and every project that I worked on that went into the parks has been in this one.
Okay. I was curious. Yeah, because that's my home too. So I definitely understood what you were saying about just California Adventure struggling to find an identity. It feels like they threw Pixar in there, and then it didn't stick towards everything they wanted, and they're still trying to maintain the California identity, and now they got Marvel. I'm more of a fan of Bugs Land, if I'm being honest, but
nice.
All right, cool.
Yep.
I think, you said, you obviously left Disney after 4 years, and this was before a lot of the current ideology that we see happened in the company. While you were there, did you start to see some of this creeping in, or was this after your time?
Oh yeah, so it started creeping in. If you're talking about all the DEI stuff, ESG stuff, it was there behind the scenes pretty strongly as I was about to leave. There was a seminar that I remember doing a double take on. So this must have been 2016. There was a seminar at the ESG, or at ESPN, and it was about, I don't remember the exact title. I'm heavily paraphrasing here because it wasn't as blunt. But it was about white guilt and what you can do about it effectively.
Oh, wow.
And
wow.
I just remember doing it. Yeah, I just remember doing a double take and like, what is this doing at Disney? Why is this at ESPN of all places? Like, what does this have to do? And so you started to see it kind of make its way through there. It was the early stages of making the rounds behind the corporate scenes to shift into that direction. And so the traces of it were there. it wasn't heavily featured in anything, and I thought it was weird because Disney didn't need that. Even before they had mandatory check boxes and everything, Disney never had a problem with anything that would you would need as an ESG company, because Disney is the place that everyone wants to work, and it's one of the only places, in games, especially in engineering, it's almost all guys. That wasn't the case at Disney. There were more than enough girls, because if you're going to go into that field, there a large number of women would prefer to work for Disney than most other companies. So they never had a problem with that. They never had a need for that. So it was really weird that these seminars were popping up, I thought. And then, of course, 10 years later, you see where things have gone. But it was the very early initial stages there.
Okay, so this was about a decade ago, 2014 or so.
Yeah, I definitely remember a couple of them popping up as I was getting ready to leave in 2016.
And what was the reaction like, just across the board when you see something about white guilt? I mean, obviously you were like, what? But what was the justification behind them doing this? I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of questions here, but it was more like, we just need to make sure, like, I don't know, it seems like it's been going on for a decade now.
Yep.
I don't know. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know what the justification was. So Disney has a lot of these seminars, and most of them are pretty mundane. A lot of them aren't even corporate-y. Some might be environmental in nature. Some might be helping with finance. Seminar on buying your first home, seminar on learning from Disney artists. There's a ton of these things, and they encourage you. A lot of them are technical in discipline, either learning software stuff, learning art stuff, learning how the rest of the company works. And they encourage you to expand your horizon in terms of that. So it was just a weird one-off on one of those. And so I saw it in the list of all these seminars being offered, and I just, made a mental note of, that's weird. But realistically, you could approach Disney with any of these that you wanted. So I thought at the time it was just a random employee who this was their thing and they wanted to have a seminar about it. Didn't look into it beyond that, and didn't realize it was going to become an actual big thing at Disney.
Oh my gosh.
It only takes one. It only takes one, Wow. Okay. I mean, seeing that and hearing that 10 years ago, well, like 10, 9
Ish,
years ago. Yeah. I mean, that's crazy to hear. Do you think that, and you said you left in 2016. We know that the world kind of shifted a little bit in 2016. Was there a reaction internally to the election of Trump in 2016 at Disney? Or was
I would
just
company wide a little bit, but it was more you felt it on the individual level. I was never one to talk politics, and never got political, especially in the office space. Obviously, a lot of the people at Disney, it is Southern California, and it's Disney in general. Most people there are fairly left leaning, at the very least. And you could tell towards the end of 2016 when Trump was a little bit more than a joke, especially after that first debate. You could tell some people's moods had changed. And before they were able to listen to people who supported Trump in the office or people who supported Cruz or whatever, and kind of have a back and forth and laugh it off and remain friends. And that kind of stopped after that first debate, and especially after the election. Any vocal support towards the right wing was not treated well. And I didn't see too much of that. Like I said, I never got political, never really cared for it back then. And but I did see people's attitudes change for sure. Company wide, I don't know how much that affected things. I'm sure I got a few people at the top were not happy, but I mostly saw it at the individual level, just the people you worked with.
Wow.
It's almost like there was I think 2020 for me was the first time I really kind of started recognizing how crazy things were, specifically with Disney. You had left by that time, but some of the changes that have been implemented over the last 4 or 5 years, it's almost like they've gone out of their way to price out the regular family, and everything has become so pricey, and it's very expensive to go to Disney. It's always been expensive. Now it's extremely expensive to go to Disney. It's, a single park ticket for a day is, over $200 to go to. They've had this the scalability pricing where some days it's $200, some days it's $250. Then on top of that, the they had the Fast Pass, which is no longer a part of. It's no longer a feature of the park. Now they got the Disney Plus the Genie Plus, and then they got. I don't know. Was that something that you started to see back then? This idea of like, how can we not provide the best experience for our guests, but get every single potential cent we can out of them while they're here?
Oh, yes. So you hit the nail on the head noticing it at 2020. Massive shift happened then. And in fact, I texted one of my old contacts who was still at the parks. And I said, they're going to use this as the opportunity, right? It's what they've been waiting for. And she just replied, yep. And she knew exactly what I was talking about. What I was talking about was redoing the annual pass. Disney, since before I started, has been wanting to redo the annual pass, but they knew they had a revolt on their hands. I used to always get the pass with no blackout dates, and then I was an employee, and that wasn't the thing. But yep, so they knew getting rid of that, they'd have a revolt and a riot on their hands, and so they were always waiting for an opportunity to present itself to restructure, and as you said, effectively nickel and dime. And COVID shutdowns provided the perfect opportunity. And they weren't even worried about lost revenue or parks being shut down. They were so thrilled to have the excuse to redo the annual pass.
That is heartbreaking. I was following along with that. That is a pivotal moment for me because that was the first time I became an annual pass holder. Because up until then, my family was the one doing it. And then they kind of teetered off. And I was like, okay, I'll take it over. And I bought my first annual pass as a key. And my heart shattered because I had just pass holder for 20 years. We would go all the time as a family and it was great. We didn't have to reserve. There was no blackout dates. Fast passes. They also killed fast passes, which my heart shattered extra for that. And I will never let that go. But yeah, I have only personally myself owned a key and it is the shittiest thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Mally, I'm not familiar. What do you mean? But when you say you own a key, what does that mean?
So a Magic Key is an annual pass. It is today's annual pass system. It's what they killed annual passes with. And just to kind of piggyback on the whole nickel and diming topic you were discussing, you're right. Because in this last year alone, in less than the last 365 days, I think it's since March until now, they have had 2 pay increases. I started paying, which is already ridiculous, but I had the bottom tier, that's the non-local Southern California, whatever, you have to be in a certain zip code. I have the bottom tier. I have the enchant key. I have the bottom tier for normal people to get. It's like $700 fucking dollars, okay, per person. And I was paying for that. And then they upped it twice by hundreds of dollars. It is now $1,000. It is now $1,000 to get that bottom tier pass. And it's like, yeah, that's what they were waiting for. You nailed it, Robert. They were waiting to nickel and dime people. They wanted to do that. And COVID was the prime fucking opportunity. I went to, not the parks because they weren't open, but I went to Disney property during COVID. They were awful, god awful. I will never forget the way that I was hounded by those cast members. Man, put your mask back above your nose. I am outside breathing open fucking air. Put your dick back in your pants. Calm down. Like, you are actually up my ass right now. And just, I will never forget how I was treated back then.
Oh yeah, we went to Disney during COVID as well. And while it felt like nobody was there. We went to the Florida parks, and this was before all the, I would say this is September of 2020, and I remember everyone had their stupid masks on, and I remember pulling my mask down, and it was like fucking Gestapo came out, and they were, "What are you doing?" Like this guy, I remember this guy 50 yards away, like he's like running up to me,
running towards me. I'm like, wow, that's gonna help. Yeah. This is also when they started, and this set me off and almost made me never buy another annual pass at that point. But it was, they started. They for like a month or two kind of played with the idea of requiring proof of vaccine, and I was like, I'm gonna lose it. I'm actually gonna lose it if you're gonna start requiring that, like it's fucking Nazi Germany. Where are your papers? Papers, please. Get fucked, Disney. Stay fucked. Absolutely not.
Yeah, it was a lot. Blabs, what are you thinking about all this?
Well, I've never been to Disney's in my adult life, but I'm just kind of amazed. Really? I always went when I was 4, and I had the time of my life there. So honestly, I'm just a bit crushed, and I'm still a bit mind blown on the whole Galaxy's Edge. Now we're going to ignore the prequel stuff. Like, we all heard about that, but to hear it from an ex-Disney employee, it really solidifies the stupidity of this entire situation. I'm shocked, honestly. But honestly, I feel like we've been kind of negative, and I would love to hear some like positive stories you have from working with Disney, because I'm sure
Not
they're
me.
plenty.
Only spill the shit. No,
No, no, no, no, no,
bad
don't even
stories.
get
I mean, but this is spilling this tea. Like, I'm sure you have really cool stories to tell.
Yeah.
I do. We had great times at the Blue Sky R&D stuff. The idea of just don't let anything stop you, create a great experience. We experimented with AR, VR. What we were going to do was have drones fly through a section of Galaxy's Edge, and you would control the drone with VR helmets. And so you would see like you were in, obviously from the perspective of the drone, but it would augment reality so that you were looking from the cockpit of a TIE fighter or an X-Wing. And so you'd be flying over the park and shooting at other drones, which would again be augmented reality to look like that X-Wing coming at you, and you'd be able to control it. Now, a lot of these ideas get kind of crazy, and obviously legal comes in. Like, okay, drones fall from the sky. You know,
Right.
how do we make sure they don't hit a guest? And so we design around that. You know, it would be a section of the park. There'd be netting, which would be and stuff like that. And it initially got shut down. Some ideas like that makes sense why they were shut down. You know, it was going to be expensive. Drones would have to be replaced all the time. There's risk. Other things we had, the coolest idea that I wish had gone through. I can only speak about a little bit of it because this one would go under NDA, but some of this is public. There was going to be a ride where it would be a little bit more individual than Star Tours. You would be in a cockpit with up to 3 other people, and you would essentially be in an X-Wing. And this cockpit would have full rotation. So if you did a barrel roll, you're physically turning upside down.
That is cool.
And you would actually go on the Death Star run, and so you'd be flying around the Death Star. Yeah.
Okay.
And that one's a little bit of a sore spot for me because we got turned down saying that we could only get so many guests in per ride, and the line would be too long. And I thought at the time, okay, but the number of guests per ride and the length of the ride is shorter than we got more guests, and our duration was shorter than Smuggler's Run. So even though we were denied for that reason, Smuggler's Run got through, and it was just like, whatever. But we had some awesome ideas, and just being able to blue sky, even some of the things that were shot down early because it's like you guys are going a bit too crazy. Those were still some of the most fun projects. And then the ones that you actually get to take through to completion, the ones that do see the light of day, that process is so fun because it's amazing how much of that pie in the sky reality doesn't matter. You can actually take through to completion, and some of the best things in the parks were done that way. So those were experiences I'll take, for the rest of my life as some of the best things I ever got to do.
That is
core
so
memories,
cool.
I'm sure.
I just wild though that they turned on that ride, and then you see the shit at Galaxy's Edge. Isn't it always like closed down, super long lines, limited people inside too? I'm like, oh, okay.
Smugglers and Rise. That's why I feel like, just to kind of say what you were saying earlier, it feels like Galaxy's Edge really is a forgotten land. Like they were like, okay, no, none of the early movies. So that's why Darth Vader doesn't wander around. That's why you'll never see Princess Leia or any of these. There's very special, unique night characters. And then, so you only ever see Kylo or the Stormtroopers, maybe Ahsoka or Mando if you're there on the right time. And then the rest of the park is just noises from ships, animals that you can't see, noises in the bushes from animals you can't see. I've asked like all my Star Wars friends who are so uppity, like, what's that sound? They don't know. They don't know what any of these sounds are. It's not clear. There's nothing, it's not coherent. You can't read the land very well. You look over top and you're like, oh, okay, Millennium Falcon, got it. And a bunch of trees and rocks. Okay, that's it. That's all you see. And so, it makes me sad what Galaxy's Edge could have been. They really were like, all right, let's just make sure they can build droids and lightsabers, charge them a lot, get them out. That's it. That's all. That's what that land's about.
And it makes sense that ride was canceled because that would have been an original trilogy ride, and they don't want that too. Wow.
It was a bullshit reason they gave you for sure, especially after seeing Smugglers come out. It's like, no.
Dude, this is fascinating. You're fascinating. Like, very interesting. You're very interesting.
You're so fascinating,
I am
Robert.
hooked, dude. Also, the AR thing, understandably got shut down. Drones falling from the sky, not a great thing for the legal team.
No.
That I'm assuming a very downscaled version with the magic band thing you can just walk around and go do. It's like, That idea was way cooler with drones. I'd rather deal with the legal stuff than this bullshit. Oh, I'm gonna go wait in line for 20 minutes to tap my magic band and see a pair of virtual eyes on a screen tell me to go get more shit. Virtual shit. I'm not even getting anything. As for those that don't know, I'm talking about bounty hunting in Galaxy's Edge. It's a thing. If you have a magic band, you can go around and bounty hunt for these criminals, and it's all virtual. Like you're not getting anything for it. You're not earning credits. You're just doing it for fun. So it's a kill the kids time task. That's what it is.
Interesting though, because you mentioned the drones, but in Universal Studios, aren't they doing like test runs with drones for How to Train Your Dragon with the dragons in the sky and it's all drones?
Interesting. I haven't heard that.
Yeah, I've seen some like leaked footage of it, so I'm kind of wondering how the legalities are going to be. If that's going to be only in an area where there's no people below, or it's like a safe designated area. We'll find out.
I'll say this. Roddy says that's going to get clipped. Just speaking of stuff being clipped on our show, you guys can take anything from our show at any point, slice it up, and talk about it on your shows or put it on X or whatever. If Robert said anything during our show that tickled your fancy and you thought that needs to get out there, by all means, clip it, put it on your channel, put it on X, whatever, because that's only good for us. We are an agnostic show where you can post a platform agnostic show. You can post us wherever you want on whatever channel. That the only good can come of that from our end, unless you're dicks. Don't be dicks. All right. I know we only got you guys for a couple more minutes, Mally and Robert. So is there anything, Mally, that you really wanted to know from Robert before we
Oh gosh.
say au revoir?
I mean, you were just talking about some of your, experiences, your positive experiences with Disney, and just as a lifelong Disney fan, what do you think is your favorite project that you got to work on? The thing you got to witness, even if maybe you didn't personally have hands on it. What is your highlight moment of working at Disney?
Yeah, my highlight moment would probably be that project I was mentioning where we did all the playtests. We decided to see just how far we could take it, how far we could push these kids, and seeing that with their imagination, you could literally make anything fun, anything in the world, any boring, mundane, strenuous task can be made fun with nothing but imagination, let alone millions of dollars. That team that I worked with was so incredible, and one of my biggest regrets is seeing how few of those people are still with Disney. Those are the people I still look up to. Those are the people I still aspire to become like, because they were able to just make magic happen. It's a phrase, but for them it was true. And that working with that team was absolutely the most incredible experience. I don't expect it to ever be topped. And even remembering all of the bad stuff, the negatives, and if I went back to Disney dealing with the politics again, just remembering what we were able to accomplish with that team, majority of which never saw the light of day, that is enough to make me want to go back. And so I always will fondly remember that team above probably all else.
That's so cool. I can't even imagine having the kind of resources that you did at your fingertips and really just getting to, kind of like you truthfully said, just play with the imagination. That was what you were doing. You had no money, no reality restraints, just playing with the imagination, especially of children, people who are kids who are actually engaged and fascinated by what you create. That's so cool.
I feel like we're just scratching the surface with you, Robert, and we need to bring you back one more time with Mally and let y'all keep going.
Absolutely.
We do it. Awesome. We do have some super chats for you, so let's go and get to some of those. Blabs.
All right, so Norm says, should game development work like apprenticeships, where devs do work and gain experience on shovelware titles to certify their skills and ability before working on the big and important one titles?
So, yeah, the problem is when you hear apprenticeship, the company just hears internship and underpaid employees. The problem is what's not shovelware out there anymore. What project either isn't mobile trash or AAA sludge? There's almost nothing out there to work on. I'm facing this right now where I'm looking at there's a handful of potential options. There's a studio forming that's brand new called Gravity Well. There are a bunch of Respawn devs who got fed up working under EA and are trying their own thing. Maybe they'll come up with something good. But most of it's AAA sludge, mobile slop, because that's where they believe the money is right now. And there isn't a lot you can really do to get an apprenticeship other than work on a title. The most common thing on the Madden team are fresh graduates from college looking to put a AAA title on their resume, work a couple of years, and then move on to a bigger studio. And you're not going to learn what you need to know working on Madden because they're just working to get that next title out, and you don't get to put a lot of creativity or thought into it. You learn the ropes basically, but you don't learn how to create something incredible. So I don't know what projects exist out there. The best thing I would recommend is make your own projects. The number one thing I do when I'm looking for hires and I'm interviewing people is I look for people not who have just done their college work or just their work that they've been employed to do. If they do anything on the side, they'll be head and shoulders above everyone else because you'll experiment, you'll learn more. That's usually the best way to figure out how to get these things done.
Awesome advice. This one comes from Salmark. How much does Bob Iger actually believe in the modern audience sentiment in Kathleen Kennedy and Alik's vision? What kind of folks work there now?
So it's interesting you mentioned Iger. Iger, I don't think is an ideologue. A lot of people believe he is. He's definitely left. He definitely believes in the left, but I don't think he's a strict ideologue. One of the things I noticed, and one of their bigger problems, is Iger is constantly undermined by the executives around him, and he doesn't realize it. When we were, my first interaction with him was a few months in. He gave 3 pieces of advice to our team after we did our demo pitch, and I was very impressed. These were not what I expected from a businessman. It was, don't cheapen out. This thing has to look good. The name doesn't quite roll off the tongue. Let's work on it. It was solid advice that our team had been discussing internally. And the moment he was out the door, and I mean the moment the door was shut, they were talking about ways they could undermine him without looking like they were undermining him because they wanted to cheapen it out because that would look better for them. One of the executives, it was their name, and they didn't want to give that up. So that was a project that didn't do well, that failed largely because they ignored his advice, and the executives that ignored it were promoted because he doesn't remember all the advice he gives. He gives every team an hour or two a year, if that. And so that's a huge problem. Kathleen Kennedy definitely is someone who is a firm believer. She's not shy about admitting it on camera about the direction she's taking it. And I believe she's a bit resentful of what she's inherited, and that's unfortunate.
Wow, that's interesting. You would think like Iger would have somebody with him recording like conversations or taking notes of what he says. So when like something fails, he can go back and be like, well, I said this and you didn't do it. You're fired, not promoted. What a wild concept. Idiot.
Yeah, especially back then, because I feel like nowadays he is just trying to find any out he can. It's why they got Chapek. Chapek was a horrible pick. Everyone knew it, but it was like, get him out so Iger can leave. And then they had to bring him back. Imagine how bitter he is. I mean, I would have expected him to do like what Blabs was saying, record something, document back then. Now, dude doesn't care. That's why we have Kathleen Kennedy, because he's like, just fill the spaces so I can leave and retire already. Like, that's all he wants. He doesn't care.
Wild. Crippled Head says, does Kathleen Kennedy have dirt on LucasArts or Disney in general? She's got to know something to not have been fired yet.
I honestly don't know if she does. I know that's been the talk of the internet. I've heard nothing but the rumors you've heard on that front. The other possibility is a lot of people in these high creative roles get something in their contract where they basically can't ever suffer negative consequences. The reason for this is, Lucas has talked himself, creativity is a gamble. You put your best out there and not all of it's going to land. So they do want some protections to say like, look, if what I send out their flops, you can't fire me for it. But of course, others kind of abuse it and they send out flop after flop after flop, never adjusting, never changing, never learning. I believe she falls into the latter category, and it may be as simple as that. Her contract protects her.
Or Steven Spielberg. All right, the last question for you, Rob, is from I can't speak English. Alpha Omega, and says, what's Rob's thoughts on Disney attempting to get into the anime business? Apparently, they tried to buy some anime studios directly, but were shot down.
Yep, they've been trying a few things. 2016, when Disney was still going really hot, there was even talks of buying Nintendo internally. Nintendo was not interested in the slightest, in case you're curious. But yeah, I'm not surprised. They definitely would have loved to have bought and owned Studio Ghibli entirely. Iger's MO has been buy. And that's a studio he would have loved to get his hands on. Broader anime studios, Japanese studios, as much as they love working with the West, they don't like being owned by the West. So they've hit some hiccups there, and I don't expect anything to really come through with that. An interesting note, though, I believe the Moana sequel was not done by local Disney Animation. I believe it was a Canadian studio that did the animation.
Interesting.
And so I
Like
believe
the first Moana?
no, the
new one.
Yeah, the new one. And so I believe they're testing the waters to see if they can start outsourcing animation partially to get.
So we'll have to go watch it and see. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, so we'll see. They're probably trying to get their hands on some external studios that maybe make their way into Japan, maybe get some of that. But I also fear that they're looking to just downsize what they have here too, which is unfortunate.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow. That's. Where did you hear this about Disney, Nintendo? Like, where was this just word on the street, or did you have somebody who, like, was this just a conversation you heard about?
There was a bit of buzz because this is back before Disney Interactive was canceled because Disney Infinity was still going on. And there were some very excited people. Like I said, Disney still had a lot of promise back then. This was before The Force Awakens was out. Hype was at an all-time high. Marvel was well loved. Star Wars, people were saying they're finally going to fix the prequels. This was the height of Disney hype. And so the idea that they could pick up from Nintendo, which had not launched the Switch yet, so they were still coming off their Wii U days. So Disney was up, Nintendo was down. This was looked at like, ooh, there's a lot we can do here. And even though there were some reservations, even I was like, oh, that could be an interesting little take. Obviously, things being what they are, I'm very glad it didn't happen. Very glad Nintendo was absolutely not interested in the slightest. But they did put feelers out there.
Wow.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Wow.
What could have been in a situation like that? The happiest place on girth came into the tin. So just some normal innocent support for some normal innocent men. I can relate.
That's good one. I like that. That's funny.
I wish I can relate to a lot of what Robert is talking about. Contrary to my username, people might not be happy there at all. How ironic. Yeah. Thank you very much. Happiest place on girth. Shane came in with a 10 over on Rumble. Says, my family was first forced to get vaccinated to go on a Disney cruise back in 2022. Let's just say I was pissed. But hey, based on my political leaning, I'm supposedly a fascist. Thanks, Shane.
Oh my gosh.
I can't even imagine. Hey, if you want to spend a week at sea, you need to get this shot. Just heads up. Joey says execs should stay out of the way from engineering at Disney. They should just stick to handling the business side and let engineers and all creative staff cook. Yeah. I think that seems to be the biggest issue with a lot of this, for sure.
Yeah.
Bert Nursing says, note, Rob, Kathleen Kennedy has copies of the stuff from the island that has the guy that did not end himself in jail. Mark my words, it will come out. Okay, Mercenary, thank you. And he also says it'll be marked by this bad karma. Yes.
I hope so.
And Kratos says, as a Floridian, Disney can suck it. Universal #1. Cali can suck it. Florida #1. Thanks, Kratos.
As a resident of Cali, I can't even disagree with you. You're right.
Yep.
Easy Sleazy says Disney story living whole thing where you're paying Disney to live a quote Disney experience is wild, going full corpo.
Yeah, I can't lie. I might have looked at story living once or twice. It looks so pretty. But it's not. I would be terrified. I would be terrified that the hidden Mickey in the wall is gonna just grow eyes and it's just gonna be watching me. It's gonna be Bob Iger on the other side. Like,
yikes!
This is not. It looks pretty conceptually. I don't think it's actually a good idea.
Torium Border Patrol says Galaxy's Edge as an attraction will always hack me off as it bogards search results for a series of military sci-fi novels by Jason Anspach and Nick Cole that replaced Star Wars in my heart completely. I don't even know what I just read, but thank you for that. Sorry, I'm really bad at reading. blame for you, Robert. You were the chosen one, Robert. You were supposed to stop DEI, not ignore it. There you go. Jonas came in and says, I'm getting the impression that these Disney people might not care about their customers.
Yeah.
And this from Autistic Account. It says, get your dick back in your pants. You're up in my ass. Phrasing, Mally.
Dude, I know what I said.
Right.
I said what I meant.
Okay.
Doubling down.
There we go. Okay, we do have some more super chats, but we want to allow our guests the opportunity to bolt if you would like the opportunity to bolt. But I do feel like we definitely need to do this again because I feel like there's
absolutely.
This was interesting.
Yeah,
yes.
I do have to bolt, but it was so good getting to meet you, Robert, and talk to you about everything. I want to hear so much more. I've already followed you on X. We're friends. But yeah, if you guys want to see more of me, I'm going to be live here in less than an hour on Rumble. You can check me out on X, Instagram, and Locals. I'm 5 members on Locals away from hitting my first 100 members. So if you want to help me out, go over to my Locals. But anyways, guys, I will see you in a couple weeks. I'm on every other Wednesday. So I love you. I love side scrollers. And I'll see you guys next time.
Thanks, Mally.
Bye.
See you.
Thanks,
Take care.
Mally.
Hey, take this and clip it and go crazy with it. Good. I hope she talks about it. Robert, I'll let you bounce as well. Where can people find you? If you'd like to be found.
I've got nothing yet. I'm working on some stuff on the side. One of the benefits of being laid off, believe it or not, is I don't have a contract right now. Every entertainment company I've worked for says whatever you do on the side, we own. Since that's not the case, I'm thinking about making my own video game.
Hell yeah.
So I'll have some stuff in the coming months. Maybe next time I'm on the show, I'll have something to share where people can find me.
Sounds great, man.
Nice.
And I don't know if you know, we're looking to get into a little bit of helping out indie developers. So just
nice.
Hit me up. Maybe we can work together, which is great. So cool.
Will do.
All right, man. Well, thanks so much for your insights today, and keep up the great work. And we'll look forward to having you on very soon.
Thanks for having me. I'll see you guys
Thank
next
you,
time.
Robert.
All right, Robert, former Disney Imagineer, hanging out with us. What a stud, huh?
That was cool.
Blabs. That was fun.
Yeah.
That was fun.
If
All
there's
right.
one good thing I did this year was organize interviews.
That was it.
Hey, last week I did last week's too. Thank you very much.
That was the thing. The only thing.
That was the only good thing I did this year was organize 2 interviews.
You've done great, Blabs. We've had a great year so far. We've had a great year. It's awesome. All right, let's finish up with these supers.
All right, well, let me hit up locals. So, Spoon Ninja for $1 says, is Craig some sort of Black Ops guy? Went dark working with guns?
Yeah.
He sent a meme. Thank you for the meme. And then lastly says, Concord the greatest fail since Atari's E.T. Is it the greatest fail since Atari's E.T.?
Concord, I think it's the biggest fail in video game history.
See, that would be a fun little deep dive video, like Craig's top 5 fails of video game.
Listen, I'm going to tell you this right now. Once again, voting for the Real Game Awards opens tomorrow, and I'll let you guys decide what the biggest fail was. That's for this year as well. But I've said this before. I think Concord is the biggest failure in video game history by far. By far. So.
All right. Norm says, I prefer the I need money explanation over the high school essay arguing why Sonic is more important for humanity answer. Ghost says, better not be one gay Astartes in the lineup. Don't cuck Cavill. That wasn't Henry. And Angela gifted a membership. If you got gifted a membership, or membership, I should say, please say thank you and consider giving 1 membership forward.
All right.
Mercenary says, thanks, Mercenary, for the PSA. Thank you so much. Slyrai says, Mally's referring to the Mickey Mendonza diagonal. Thank you very much. Flickerbox says, oh, it's Mally, the Topanaga of the internet.
Oh,
Topanga.
no, don't say that. Topanga, yes.
I'm retarded, sorry. Jason says, here's a $1.40 towards your dream. Thank you very much, Jason.
Thanks, Jason. We're going to get there.
Magnum says, why do people watch people like Ninja? Weetard Central? Oh, shit. I just look in the mirror. Thanks, Magnum. Shakeable says, yeah, I'm playing Skyrim on the Switch right now. Wait, Skyrim is on the Switch? For real? Like, how does that look?
I can't imagine anybody's actually playing that.
No. Kaladix says, 2020's game crash caused by toxic positivity. Tom says, culture of 2006 and 2024 equals fiscal strategy equals $4 devs. Yeah? 60 Watt says, constructive consultancy. Yeah, no, because they all need constructive criticism, which is currently seen as toxic because it can hurt fifis. Victus Omega says, speaking of Disney, I've been playing Epic Mickey Rebrushed. It's great for the Steam Deck. Also, highly recommend Path of Exile 2 if you like Diablo. Yeah, I've been wanting to Rebrushed, actually, because I had it on the Wii and I couldn't finish it because it was just obvious. Honestly, it was really bad, the controls. Soul Silver says, this reminds me when I see concept arts of armor in World of Warcraft. Look great, but then when they implement it in the game, it looks nothing like the concept art. Mercenary says, back in the 80s when I was a kid, I remember seeing adults for $20, kids for about 10 or less, and a family of 4 packs for about $50. Breaks my heart. The good old days, bro.
The good old days.
Anakin's burnt wiener.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry we missed this from Mally. Just came in. It says, Mally, I think you're a total rock star. Ooh la la. And Orthodox Monk says, Mally addressing the Coomers in chat as well, Disney employees. And Carlos, it's a great show. Has there been any progress or update on having Laura Fryer on the show?
Not yet. I look forward to potentially welcoming her on the show in time, but not right now. But I would love to have her on in the future. I'll need to work through Marty to get that done because I don't think Laura is on social media like at all. So.
Over on Rumble, Joey says, execs should stay away from the engineers at Disney. They should just stick to handling the business side and let the engineers and all creative staff cook.
Yep.
Bentley guy says, my family forced to get vaccinated to go
I read that already.
Oh, shit.
I read
Sorry.
both of them.
Listen, I can't keep up.
And Delta says, I do wonder how many esports streamers like XQC and Ninja will end up like Nicolas Cage or the average sports star without preparation for the future. You're talking about having all that money and then just going broke? Yeah. That'll be interesting to see. All right. We got to go. We'll see you guys tomorrow when we're back at it. Hey, I'm going to be on Colin Moriarty's Sacred Symbols today. I'm going to be on that show, which is I'm very much looking forward to that. It's on my calendar. I'll be recording it here in just a little bit. So coming up in just a little bit. So if you are a Patreon member over for those boys over there, you guys will be able to see that. And then I'll hit YouTube. We're going to be, better wake up, Craig. We're going to be talking about the Real Game Awards and the need for alternatives, things in the space. So, all right, guys, have a great rest of your day. We'll see you guys later on. Remember, we're back at it tomorrow at 11 a.m. when we're back with RGT85. First time coming back in months. Looking forward to hanging out with him. He is, after all, the greatest Nintendo YouTuber out there. So, look forward to that.
He's got over 500,000. It's amazing.
RGT?
Yeah, I just checked on YouTube.
Oh, he's a stud, man. Yeah, for sure. All right, it's time to get out of here. With that said, we'll see you guys later. Remember, if people are going to try to keep you down, don't let them. You guys got a goal. Go, walk and get it. See you guys later. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Hey,